Hey, we're back. Welcome to Octobercast 2012. Some people wanted to call this the OCTOBERKAST. I thought that was crazy.
Sure, okay.
Oh, I like it.
I don't know.
No, too late.
That.
It's Octobercast 2012.
It could just be a picture of a potato.
It could be.
With the cape.
Super
potato.
I'm here with, of course,
OCTOBERKAST.
Norman Chan, Gary Witta. Joining us for the next segment are Jeff Gerstmann and Brad Shoemaker, who are familiar to many of you, but they're from Giant Bomb, if you don't know them.
It's a website.
Among other things. Also from the fine folks at CBSI, makers of NCIS,
That's right.
CSI, and...
right in the building. They shoot them downstairs.
and,
LL Cool
Two
J's
Broke
cubicle
Girls.
is just down from mine.
Yeah, Worldwide Pants is just up the hall, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's
In our like employee back end travel booking application,
Yes.
you can pick Worldwide Pants as your department.
Have you tried it?
No,
What are they going to do?
I didn't think it was a good idea.
I think Dave Letterman will come to your house.
Oh,
and
you know what's
F
better
you
than
up,
that?
man.
You know what's better than that?
I would pay money
Yeah,
for that.
exactly.
So you know what's better than that is I use Apple Mail on OS X.
okay.
But I don't know. I guess
Do
we're
you
hooking.
have VIPs? Have you leaned into the VIPs?
I don't know what that is.
No.
Okay.
But so I guess we're hooking into like an exchange server. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, when you start to type a name into the to field, it will auto match against like the entire employee
So when you type
database.
an email to Dave Snyder,
I
perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah.
You might get something. Well,
Goes bad.
He is not in there that I have seen.
Is
Yeah.
LL Cool J in there?
But numerous like well-known 60 Minutes anchors and stuff like that.
Is Morley Safer's email still alive?
Oh, I haven't tried him.
Man.
Rest
check
in
on
peace,
that.
Email the
Morley.
entire CBS.
I've-
Like, is there like an email all? He
Oh, that's such a
accidentally
bad
emailed
idea.
That
That would be the worst thing of all.
I don't. Yeah.
Oh my god. It's too many people. Hey, before we go any further, we should talk about. We've got Darren Gladstone coming here at 9 o'clock. He's brought something. HP has given us something awesome to auction off.
Yeah, we have a
at
couple
9
more things
o'clock
to auction
hour.
off for charity. So let's talk about the charity and where you can donate.
Yeah, that's where I was going. We're doing this. This is Octobercast. We're doing 24 hours of This Is Only a Test to benefit Child's Play. Child's Play is a great charity started by the guys at Penny Arcade. They've raised millions of dollars over the last 8 or 10 years to give sick kids comfort when they're in children's hospitals around the
Yeah, they
world.
distribute toys and games to sick children in hospital and make their time in hospital a little bit less miserable.
That's exactly it. Try to make a difficult time in their lives better.
Yeah.
And they do
It's
it
a worthy
all with
cause.
very low overhead. They are incredibly generous of their time, and we like the charity. So
And so far, we've raised over $10,000.
Wow, we're over $10,000. That's fantastic.
Well over, because we haven't computed all the auction money that we've raised so far.
Or
And there's more
the
to
guns
come.
Guns for Kids.
Yeah, Guns
I
for
mean, we've
Kids.
thought
is
about
happening
Guns
right
for
now.
Kids.
Yeah.
So when we add it all up, it's going to be a significant amount. And we've still got 8 hours to go.
Just one full
8 hours
work
is
day.
pretty good. I feel like that's
When
not
was the last
that
time you
much.
put in one of them?
Well, you remember I was
No.
talking earlier about hitting that second wind.
Yeah.
I
Gary,
feel like it's
Gary.
I feel like it's coming.
I'm going to go and
I
tell
got
you.
some bad news. It's actually 10 hours to go.
Oh God.
A full work day.
Oh shit.
And then some.
Gary's a Hollywood screenwriter. He doesn't work 10 hours
true.
at a time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't work at all.
Yeah, you just sit there and bang on the keyboard. Things
Yeah.
happen.
It's good,
Slap
it's good
away
work
at
if you
the
can get
keyboard.
it.
So yeah, we have Guns for Kids going. Joey's doing 1,000 push-ups. If you would like to pledge per push-up, you should look at the total he's at now. I think he's around 600.
627.
Now he got off to a flying start. He was bashing out those push-ups. But
might
of
have
course,
gone-
each one's a little more difficult than the last. And I've definitely noticed the momentum has
You know,
slowed a
He
little.
really looked like he was feeling it when I walked in.
But again, if you look at the amount of push-ups he's done
He's over
in the
hump.
time that we've had and how much time is left, even factoring in the slowdown, I think he's
Yeah.
well on track to do 1,000.
Maybe that's what we should have done, like a per item pledge for Alexis eating all those chicken McNuggets.
Man,
How many nuggets did he made him eat?
got to about
Nuggets?
60. He made it through 60. It was
60 is
100
too many
nuggets,
nugs.
100 minutes
And 60s, he just couldn't take any
for
more.
$100, and around 60.
Did you
is
actually
when
do
he-
that?
Yeah, he tried doing it
that could
during
kill a
the Big
man.
Live Live
That's
show.
like $15.
So he's diabetic on top of that. So when HR found out, they were pissed. They're like, "What?
Okay,
Did you?
I didn't just hear about this."
Did you witness this?
Yeah, this was during our live show.
At what? I got to go back and watch the video. But at what point did it become clear that he wasn't going to make it?
Before he started.
pretty quickly.
It's like, there's no
when
way
you look
he's
at the
gonna do
nugs,
it. Yeah, no, we were trying to get fresh nuggets.
I don't
to
know.
him
Like
and
on
stuff like
paper,
that,
it doesn't seem impossible.
exactly. Just one per minute. Just for 100 minutes, right?
That wasn't.
But yeah, it adds up.
Yeah.
Was that the only thing? It's like Century Club, but with nuggets, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Century
like
Club's
the world's worst power hour.
always a bad idea. You combine Century Club with the 100 nug challenge.
Yeah.
That
Then you've got
actually
something.
probably
Then you've got
death-worthy.
something.
Is that the only thing you got in trouble with HR?
Well,
during the big live event?
there was that. There was also Drew firing a bow.
So
They
hold on.
actually get mad after the fact?
They were
Facilities,
not,
I think,
facilities
was the one
was,
that-
was they
Yeah.
came to Vinny and said, "Hey, could you not shoot a bow in the office anymore?" And, he said, "Totally, yeah." All right.
So I have
You're 100% right on
yeah,
this
like
one.
okay, yeah.
so I have some late breaking bad news about that incident.
Yeah.
The bow and arrows have disappeared.
Oh man,
Somebody
he
made-
left him there, and
he
someone
left him in the office, and somebody seems to have made off
So-
with him.
What the hell?
So just to be clear, the thing that people were upset about wasn't that Drew brought a deadly weapon to the workplace. It was that you could have made a hole in the
could
wall.
have broke a window or
Yeah, maybe dented a soda machine or something.
Exactly, yeah.
It's good that you guys have your priorities in the right place.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
yeah.
nicely done.
So
I miss working at a giant ass company.
Yeah, their priorities are pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
Has your day-to-day giant bomb existence changed at all since you became part of a mega media global conglomeration?
I mean,
It's a lot. I think it's more meetings
More
and
meetings,
a lot more
yeah.
procedure.
yeah,
A lot more process. Like
there's more red tape for.
Yeah.
I think
Like
the
booking flights and stuff. I
even
guess.
even something
yeah.
as simple as booking travel. Like at Whiskey, we would just go on like Kayak or Orbitz or something, and just
Yeah.
do everything ourselves. You know,
Yeah.
now you got to go through like budget approvals, and you got to use the sanctioned company tools to book that stuff, and only certain flights apply, and blah blah blah.
we had a lot of people just kind of just going like, just sidestep all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll approve it. And now none of those people are there anymore. So
Although Vinny
that's-
still just
That's been,
did that
yeah.
yesterday.
yeah, no, it's been it's been a new crew and stuff like that. And I think it's a big group and it's good to get some kind of fresh blood in there and get some people kind of thinking about
Bring
stuff.
them up
and-
to speed, get them enhanced with your current verticals.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
talking like a
synergize.
completely different
Wow.
man, man.
I've just spent a lot of time in meetings.
Okay.
Spent a lot of times in meetings. It's a big group between there's us, there's GameSpot, there's GameFAQs, there's Metacritic. Kind of all in this one group.
You're all
so.
under the NCIS umbrella,
Yeah,
I think, right?
exactly. So we all report in through LL Cool J now.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
LL seems like a cool.
Which
He
is
wears
not
good
bad.
hats.
He's the greatest of all time.
And like he's a detective.
He lets
or
you know
cop or
that
something,
he's
right?
number
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been more meetings and more red tape and just kind of figuring out those systems and stuff like that because. Like you guys have all the equipment that we had.
Yeah, it turns out we
do.
And you
so-
know,
Sweet.
I
It's
don't want to
really
alarm you,
familiar.
but we don't really capture video.
No, I know,
games
exactly,
A lot,
yeah.
Which is because this is we hooked up
But
the
you might
TriCaster
someday.
last week.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean,
So
we
it
used the
was
lights.
this crazy process
are
of just like getting that stuff approved, and I think that there were some people internally at the company that didn't understand that this was going to be that we were going to need all this stuff.
were a
It wasn't-
video
we
game
didn't
site?
just plug right into their existing gear, which a lot of it is old and broken.
Yeah.
So it was very much about like, okay, we need to get a proper studio for our kind of video setup and all that stuff. So
You need a real big green screen. That's
they have one. They have a green screen room.
Yeah.
okay.
So if we
It's
want to
got
use that,
green
we can get in
walls.
there and use it. But we've kind of set up all of our stuff around kind of our area and all that. So
Building little kingdoms inside the
Yeah,
fiefdoms
more or less,
inside
yeah.
the.
I think of it as a fiefdom, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
But I mean, once we cut through all that stuff, the corporate process stuff, I think,
Yeah.
like the core of what we're doing hasn't changed.
I mean,
at
it's,
all.
Yeah,
it
like
seems
no-
like the videos are as dumb as they ever, dumb and wonderful.
yeah, dumber.
Yeah.
And we're talking about ways to kind of finally tap into the things that CBS offers as a large company and kind of bigger ideas, bigger videos. I mean, we spent a lot of time thinking about, like, towards the end of the Whiskey Media days, there were a lot of meetings spent concepting a lot of larger video
Yeah.
ideas
Stuff
and
that would require
series and
real
stuff
money.
like that. Yeah.
And
so
time and a dude maybe.
so now we potentially have access to that real money. So it's similar to that process of like, okay, we need to figure out like what these things are going to be. Like, are we going to go to Japan for a raid? What's
raid, I believe.
how many episodes is that series? That
Yeah.
sort of stuff. And then there's
Can you get Mountain Dew or Doritos to sponsor that?
I hear that they're interested.
it's a
So
thing.
did you guys actually? Do you guys know what that whole story is?
I know the story. I know the Eurogamer side. I don't know what the picture of Jeff Keighley
yes, I just
is all
mean
about.
specifically the Keighley end of this.
Yeah, no,
stuff.
I have no idea.
So we actually got pitched on this as well, and what I guess he must have done a deal with Mountain Dew and Doritos because they're both doing a hate.
Did he or did his
agent
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
How I don't
His
know
people.
his people. I don't know how his end of it really works. But so they were actually pitching interviews around New York Comic-Con, saying like, hey, would you like to interview gaming expert Jeff Keighley? He will deliver insight about this fall's greatest games and the gaming at New York Comic-Con.
Wow, that is super weird.
And also, the Halo 4 double XP brought to you by Doritos and Mountain Dew. And then there's like in asterisks at the bottom of the email, it says this interview is provided by Mountain Dew. So Mountain Dew's PR was shopping him around.
To what kind of outlets?
To us, it seemed like it was. I don't know how we ended up on this list, but it seemed like it was.
Don't
a lot
you have
of,
your own experts?
Well, that's what I wrote back. It said like we have people there. We're good, but it seemed like they were just kind of casting a wide net.
So
And
who would the
Presumably more to like maybe
ideal
mainstream
audience?
outlets that
Yeah.
I mean, if I
don't
wanted
necessarily have their own gaming beat
that-
guys or something.
or actually, it ended up being like smaller community type sites and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think is how it ended up going, and what it was you would actually the interview they laid out how the interviews would take place and stuff, and it would be like it's a 5-minute phone call with Jeff Keighley, and then we will send you the video of Keighley.
Well, that's exactly the way you guys usually do video. 5 minutes is the perfect length for an
5 minute
internet
phone
video.
call.
Yeah, and it's like
Nobody would watch more than that.
if I want to have a phone call with Keighley, I can call him.
You have a cell phone.
Yeah, so I didn't get into that with this person
Yeah.
that was shopping around and stuff. I said like we're
22-year-old.
we're good, thank you. It's fine. So they were just kind of putting him out there, and then once they sent everyone the videos, it's this setup shot with him with all this product placement stuff, and this is a frame grab from one of those.
Yeah.
So I have not. I don't want to derail this, but I have a question that's tangential to this, not necessarily like nothing to do with his association with these snacks or whatever. But
Yeah.
the infamous photo that's floating around.
Yeah.
Is that a photo or is that a frame grab?
It's a frame grab from one of these interviews.
So that's something that I've been thinking about recently in the age of HD video everywhere.
Yeah.
Because every frame of a video is now a high quality photograph.
Not really.
Sure.
It's only the shutter speed is matched
Yeah,
up.
that's
Well, give or take.
high quality enough.
The point
You
the,
can
the
find
point,
something.
The point is that prior to this era of high quality video, like every photograph kind of told its own story, right? Like you kind of generally knew you were being photographed. Things are posed.
Yeah.
They were presented a certain way.
I mean, the frame grab from that video is very clearly like whoever scrubbed through it
right.
went to find one where he looked
He
dismayed
looks kind of despondent to be sitting there.
you
right?
know,
that's the
something
thing
like that.
with this stuff now. You can catch anybody mid blink looking totally dismissive or angry or disinterested or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Actually-
I feel like photographs of people are going to start losing their veracity to some extent because you can manipulate what the story is to such an extent.
We've interviewed a fair number of people this year, like way more than we have ever in the past, and like one or two out of all the people we talked to, Joey says, this person just looks really good in every single frame,
Right.
And those people are special. Everybody else has like one good frame of about 30, and then
Yeah.
you look kind of like a troll the rest of the time.
We did back in the old GameSpot days. I used to do a weekly wrap-up show, and Rich Gallup, the guy who was doing all the real work of writing it and editing it and all that stuff, he would also do the frame grab for it, and he would deliberately choose the worst possible
Something
ones
to be hard
every
of.
single time. Yeah, and I would just go with it. I'm like, yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
great.
That's dumb. That's awesome. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, frame grabs of video, and people do it to our live streams all the time too.
Yeah. Tell me about it. You don't
Yeah.
say. Really? They take you when you're looking
Yeah,
your
some-
worst. and
sometimes
then
they'll take us, like,
put it on the internet,
Yeah.
and then
And they'll do things.
That's
smack
why it should be
things on
having
top of
kits.
it.
It's weird how
That
that
it's
works.
multiple frames. You get a
Right.
balanced
Yeah.
view.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like it's the stuff that has exploded around Keighley and then around the stuff out of the UK.
I mean, the
is
trying to
interesting,
squelch
but
was like that.
Well,
if that's
yeah.
true, assuming
Yeah.
I mean it's
Yes,
all
yeah.
alleged and all that. I mean that seems like the
the UK
big-
stuff, I feel
big
like
mistake.
both ends of it were not done well.
Yeah.
Like the original article was,
That-
trying to tie in this Doritos thing to this other separate thing, and from the perspective of these guys tweeting to win PlayStation 3s via hashtags and stuff, a lot of them are freelancers that are quite frankly broke all the time.
Yeah.
So on one level, it's like you can't fault them for that, but on the other hand, that's part of the reason why I don't like to use freelancers a lot, because they're
people are paying.
they're mercenary by their very
$150
nature,
for
you
a
know,
game
it's-
review. You
yeah.
have to spend 40 hours, and it's
Yeah.
like it's a terrible way to
Yeah.
earn a living in a lot of ways.
But I mean, like Gary, you worked over there. I've heard all these stories about kind of the UK games media, kind of more back in the day stuff about kind of covers for sale, and just generally speaking that the whole thing was the worst. Like way worse than even the allegations of stuff in the U.S. Like, do you? I know a lot of people who've worked over there have stories about people like witnessing really crazy stuff.
I never saw anything as brazen as like covers for sale or anything like that, and I'm quite certain that if I had,
people tell me that they had bought covers for UK magazines
but
before.
But the reality is perhaps more so in the UK back in the day. Than here, although I think it's been a problem everywhere, even up until today, that the relationship between journalists, press, and the PR people is often too cozy for what you might want to have as professionalism in terms of how the games are viewed and who are you really an advocate for, which ultimately the consumer, right? You're supposed to be looking after those guys, and so it is. I'm kind of glad that I'm out of it, to be honest, and I'm so divorced from it now. And I'm, if anything, kind of on the other side of the fence as someone who's now involved with the development of games. And it's been very weird to be on the other side of it and kind of look at Metacritic from the other side, and now be on the side of trying to get press people to like my games and realizing that there's actually really nothing you can do other than try and make a good game and hope that they like it. Anything other than that, you start to feel I would feel very awkward about like trying to schmooze you or get in your good. It's like, oh yeah, let's hang out and have some beers so that you'll look favorably on my game. Like, that seems very sleazy to me. And yet it happens all the time.
And from the PR side.
From us on the other end of it, there's sort of a no-win situation for us, because like if we went out and reviewed Walking Dead and said it was great, there would obviously be people out there. It's like, oh well, Gary's working on it, so obviously they love it,
right?
And that's.
But you can't let that affect you either way, though.
Exactly. So and also we're trying to evolve the way we cover stuff, and it's led to situations that if you had come to me, 10 years ago and said, hey, these are conversations you're gonna have with a PR person or a game developer and stuff like that, I'd be like, no, I'm not. But it's led to a place where I think we have to address it by being as transparent as possible about the way we do business.
I certainly had a lot of friendships with PR people in the business, and then one of their games would come out and we would give it an honest review, which wasn't great, and they would call angry and say, what the fuck, I thought we were cool. And I'm like,
yeah, it's like, that doesn't mean
what do you think this is?
Like, we are, but not clearly, but not in the way you clearly thought.
Well, I had a conversation with someone who used to be at Rockstar PR about
Rockstar Energy Drink or
Rockstar the video game people. And it was after I'd reviewed one of the Midnight Club games, and basically like I'm on the phone, kind of like they're angry about the score, and Rockstar has classically been the worst about this over the years.
Real scores are very important to those guys.
And at some point he got real quiet and said, "Are they making you do this? Are they making you give that score? Is it something? Are they making?" And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? I just don't think this is a very great game. The AI is shit.
Yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not what you're looking for on the score.
Yeah, it's the relationship between press and PR is weird, because oftentimes, you will have PR people that think that by being your buddy that's going to turn into something, and it doesn't. And the only way I can talk to PR people on a regular basis now, outside of kind of the traditional professional relationship, is with people who understand that. And it seems like there's an increasing number of people on that end.
Well, there's a lot of people that have come through our side,
there's
the press side of the business, and then end up going into PR, because at some point, you're not going to make supporting 4 kids money doing game reviews.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, maybe maybe not.
You stay at it long enough, you can figure a way out.
The more higher you go, the fewer jobs there are.
Yeah.
And the thing that the thing that we always found doing hardware reviews is that if you write a bulletproof review and you're really explicit about why this game isn't getting the score, why a product gets a lower score than another product, then it's really hard for them to come back and give you the, hey man, I thought you were cool, when you say, look, this is deficient in this category and this category and this category. And it's a little bit different when you're doing like a critical review of something that is a creative endeavor.
Yeah.
But you can look at, most of the time these days, you can still look at something and say, look, this is a really neat idea, but it's not executed particularly well, and here's why we think it's not executed particularly well. And
I mean, in the early days of GameSpot, we kind of had the mentality of trying to write reviews in that bulletproof way that, because the message board audience being what it was, and being as angry and all that stuff, there was that idea of writing this bulletproof review. that, you know, it's like no one could assail this. And you spent all this time going back and forth like over these points and explaining it all to death at the detriment of the review. Ultimately, you know, it started to read like an instruction manual at some point.
Very defensive.
And then people still would come up with conspiracy theories and all this other stuff.
You
So
still see today the calls for the mythical objective review, which doesn't actually exist.
We used to get on PC
that.
Gamer back in the day when we were a big magazine. We had hundreds of pages of advertising. Those days are obviously gone now. But when PC Gamer was this huge, thick, you know, phone book of a magazine,
A juggernaut.
it was a juggernaut. I would occasionally get calls from PR people that would complain about, you know, a less than satisfactory, which is basically anything under 90%.
Sure.
Because they have to go explain that to their boss.
Right.
That's considered a failure of the PR person. They didn't deliver
Right.
a
They didn't-
90%
they
review,
didn't find a
as if
way.
that is something that is in their.
I've heard from plenty of publicists who like the shit just runs downhill from the executive level every time a score.
And
like
in the
that
age of
lands, and I'm
Metacritic,
like,
where
what
that's
do your
actually now a
bosses
metric
think
that people's
you're gonna do?
bonuses and job performance,
Right.
you know, relies upon,
It's mind-blowing.
PR people and marketing, they sweat these reviews even more now.
That's just like what do these people at the top of these companies think?
Like,
that
what do you think
PR
what do you
people
actually
on the
think
ground are
I
actually
do
gonna
here? Do you think I'm bribing these? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a conspiracy theory. But we would get calls from people. I'd say, like, can you point to anything in the review that's factually inaccurate?
exactly.
Because if so, we'll
That's-
correct it. If not, we have nothing to talk about. And sometimes they would get really pissed and say, well, we're going to pull our advertising. And we would say, pull it.
Yeah.
We've got, fortunately, there's plenty more where that comes from.
Yeah.
These days, not every outlet has the luxury to be able to stand their ground like that. And I'm not saying that their ethics are compromised because of it. I'm just saying we were always fortunate enough to be so insulated from that to say, look, well, we're not having this discussion. There's another advertiser right next door, and ultimately you probably need us because we're the #1 magazine more than we need you.
Yeah, I mean, we were very insulated from it until we weren't.
Yeah, but, well, and
And then it went bad real fast.
But I always prided myself on, we had the paid account that hid ads on the site.
Right.
And I tried to log into that as much as I could because I prided myself on not knowing what the advertisers were on the site.
Well, I mean, who am I talking to? I mean, you were the victim ultimately of one of the most fucking egregious examples of this kind of bullshit in industry history.
You know, you take the long view, I'd say it worked out pretty well for me. But
Right, but at the time, it was still a very ugly and bullshitty
Totally,
situation.
yeah.
that
It
live
was-
stream was fun though, huh?
it was, yeah, it was weird. Yeah, it's.
I mean, and you were obviously in the end totally vindicated, and all the culprits eventually kind of had to fall on their swords, and
Yeah.
justice was done. But you still had to go through a bunch of shit,
Right.
because of it.
Yeah, and you know, it's exactly. And I think that you have to build those walls. But I came out of that, and it was something that when we started Giant Bomb, and we were a smaller company and stuff like that, and doing all the Whiskey Media stuff. Like, I learned a lot more about the business end of the process than I knew before, because I came out of that, blindsided by a lot of that stuff, and ultimately I felt like, I would rather know what those guys are up to than have that stuff just kind of come out of the blue. And that's something, I think that's your high end editorial dudes need to, like. So basically, like, we're setting up a process so, like, when site skins or something like that come through, I will have approval over them.
Going back-
and I can say, like, no.
Going back to that Jeff Keighley picture that was the start of all this, I think Jeff Keighley is someone who has integrity. I know that he's a good writer, a good journalist. Those last days of articles that he does are terrific.
Stuff he was doing, like 10 years
He's not a
ago
reviewer,
was
but I mean, yeah,
excellent.
he's out there,
Having
doing interesting
having said
inside
that,
information.
I don't know Jeff particularly well, but he is someone that I respect. That he's a good writer. I do think he has integrity. When I saw that picture, and I don't think it was necessarily taken out of context. I think it was a frame from. It was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, and whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know. But my first reaction to it was viscerally like, that's not cool. Like, there's
gross,
just something
yeah.
kind of sleazy about sitting next to all this fucking. I think maybe it's because Mountain Dew and Doritos is an easy target for, like, crass corporate capitalism.
It doesn't matter
Just
what the
something
products
about
are.
it just felt kind of off, and I think that's why it started this shitstorm.
Well, you certainly don't think Jeff Keighley is a guy who goes home and eats Doritos and drinks Mountain Dew every day, right?
Right.
Like, there's no.
But I mean, it's just there's no what the
Does it matter what
connection.
the product is?
The connection is the connection that people have been trying to force for 15 years, and that dudes are gamers and gamers like Mountain Dew, and
Yeah.
I mean, I do like a Dorito occasionally, but
I'll drink a Mountain Dew from time to time.
right. But it's
If only they were MacBook Airs.
Yeah, now you'd
Yeah.
use the shit out of a Mac, but no.
And some iPad.
But the
movies.
context of what you explained actually sound even more kind of gross. Like I imagine he was just there as like part of a paid promotion thing, and this is advertising and marketing. And I get it. That's what you can't on the one hand say, oh, mate, games are as big as movies now, and not have everything that goes along with that, which is Happy Meals and Doritos sponsorship and do and all the bullshit that goes with it. That's just part of doing business at that level. But if there was actually a move afoot to kind of try and peddle this stuff as some kind of editorial content, but really it was just a way to backdoor plugs for Mountain Dew and Doritos, that seems kind of crass
but
to me.
you get that stuff all the time. I mean, a couple years ago for CES when we were new and people didn't realize that we weren't just dudes that started a blog because we want to get a bunch of free video cards and shit.
Yeah.
We would get stuff from companies that were like, hey, would you like to be a sponsored blogger of such and such company? We'll provide you with golf shirts. You remember this email?
Yeah.
We'll provide you with golf shirts that you can wear on the show and report directly to the blah, blah, blah company X super blog where you'll talk about things such as, Toledo and hotness.
And they did that. Samsung did that.
It wasn't, well, I'm not even talking about the Samsung one where they flew the kids in from India and then abandoned them in Germany.
And you
We
gotta
were
wear-
talking
you gotta
about
wear the-
Sears.
gotta wear the
If we're
polo
going to
shirts.
name names, we were talking about Sears was the one I was thinking about. But,
High-tech stuff.
Yeah, shit, topical relevant companies like Sears and J.C. Penney.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's a weird business and getting weirder out there. I mean, it's the line between I think it's you see a lot of guys on YouTube out there live streaming games and stuff like that, and there are definitely like viral marketers out there trying to figure out ways to tap into that.
Yeah, the YouTube channels. Good
Because
God,
it's
man.
a lot of people that don't. I mean, it's not to say that they're unsophisticated or whatever. I mean, there are plenty of people out there doing really cool shit on YouTube, but they probably don't think of themselves as journalists. They probably don't think of things in this like
They don't think they're
ethical
making product
way.
recommendations.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Which
So
is fine.
If companies pay attention to them, they get really excited and go like, "Oh, I started getting free stuff. Let's keep the free stuff coming in."
Yeah. Well, and I mean, there's nothing like. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, it's a little weird to me as a dude who reviews. Well, not really so much anymore, but used to review quite a bit of stuff for a living. But I mean, I think like if you're just going out and playing games on YouTube, like if you go too far with that and you start putting a crazy product placement in your site and stuff like that, people will just go away if they don't like it, if it doesn't work.
Yeah, probably.
And if that audience is unsophisticated and is okay with it, then I mean. Great. I'm glad that guy could quit his shitty IT job and do something awesome for a living on the internet.
Yeah, so it's one of the things where the lines are just blurring about kind of what people are considering as a viable or an unbiased source for information or whatever. It's been interesting watching that transition happen.
If you're presenting yourself as somebody whose opinion matters and you trust to give product recommendations and purchasing recommendations, then I think you owe it to the people that are listening to you and in your audience to remain kind of above that stuff.
Right, and we kind of just we're still ready at the drop of a hat. If the video game industry said no more stuff, we'd be like, cool, we'll buy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy. We've been buying tech stuff for 2-3 years.
We buy a lot of games. Usually the bad ones because it
turns out
in the age of Metacritic, no one wants to send that stuff out even more.
Hey guys, Gina's leaving. Would you like her to get some more food, or are you guys good after the dim sum?
I think I'm all right for right now.
Okay.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brad.
Sure.
Yeah, Brad, that was awesome. And Jeff, thank you for loaning. You loaned us.
Oh yeah.
What's super funny? It's like the old podcast mics from
These
the old
are
office.
that I never expensed, so I just took them home when
which is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that we have these microphones.
What's I don't want to preclude any of your inevitable Game of the Year stuff that I'm sure you're already thinking about, but like I want to know like what are some of the personal favorite things that you've played
It
this
is
year?
almost across the board downloadable games for me this year.
Really?
Like 2 games out of my potential top 10 at the moment are on discs. Like it is all $15, $20 stuff. It's crazy. Like this is the year for me.
I don't think it's that crazy. I think we have crossed that Rubicon where that's a totally legitimate result.
Well, this
we
is a
can
year I
have.
think where like the bulk is there. It's just one game after another, month after month, where it's like this is a
Fez,
15
Dust,
Yeah,
and
Fez is
Journey,
amazing,
and
man.
like Trials and Spelunky and Mark of the Ninja. It's just like one thing after another to the point that I've been meaning to propose to you that we drop the downloadable category.
Yeah,
I just merge that stuff in.
I think I'm okay with that. I just want to make sure that the focus of our awards, we change all the categories every year based on kind of what the trends are and at our whim.
Well, what you think is
ultimately.
interesting, yeah.
So we just want to make sure we're calling attention to the games that we think are deserving of that attention, and we build the categories accordingly. So if dropping downloadable is the right way to do that, then great. But if if those games still end up unrepresented,
Yeah,
or
you're
if
right.
the
You're right.
alternate scenario of retail games are not getting
sure,
represented.
sure.
So maybe that's the swap. We just do retail. We do boxed game of the year.
that's the ghetto category?
Marginalize the AAA
Wow.
stuff.
I mean, the thing that's
There,
interesting.
we should totally do that. We
That's
should
a great
totally
idea.
do that.
Well, because the thing that's interesting that's happening is the people who are making the small games can afford to build the kind of games. I would have said this was absolutely true until XCOM came out. They're building the games that are like super appealing to me as a dude who likes cool mechanics and can kind of like doesn't give a shit about a cinematic experience so much
Right.
anymore. You know,
But
Well, it's a lot easier to take a risk for $500,000 than
course.
$20 million. You know.
I just
I
wonder-
think you
it
should
makes sense.
consolidate it. I don't know why Fez, for example, is any less AAA than Modern Warfare 3. Why? Because it takes up less disk space?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
who cares?
Yeah, it's not an important distinction anymore, for
Right.
sure.
I mean, I guess there are still some people that don't like the idea of, well, this game only lasted 10 hours. But you know what? There are plenty of games out there that only last 10 hours, and I derive more satisfaction in those 10 hours than the 60-hour
How's
game that's
Battle
full of
10,
bullshit.
10 hours is longer than most Call of Duty,
Right.
than all Call of Duty
Right.
campaigns.
I mean, I
Twice
can
as
tell
long
you,
as
I can tell you
longer.
right now, it's very unlikely to change. My game of the year is going to be Journey, and that game takes 2.5 hours
I
to
can't
play.
think of a more exalted experience I had with the game all year than that
Oh my
one.
god, unbelievable!
But do you think that we feel this way because we are all old men?
Yes,
Probably.
that's exactly
Yeah.
it.
Like,
it's something fresh. It's
that's
something different.
That's something that I feel like, as the kind of the gaming audience of the 80s and 90s has now grown up, the value argument is going away because now all of us we're in this point where we can afford a lot of these games and it's not the end of the world.
Everybody reaches a point in adulthood where money and time invert, right?
maybe not
hopefully,
everybody,
hopefully.
well,
I mean, not in this economy, but
to a point.
yeah.
Once you're in the workaday world, and then if you get married and have a family and stuff, there are a lot of other draws on your time that weren't there when you were a child.
Yeah, but like I still have
why
a
you buy those
huge
Spectre packs.
Yeah, I have a huge grudge against Strider for the Genesis because it was $80 and it was like an hour or 2 hour game,
Wait,
and I
hold on to that one, man.
And the
Fuck that game.
Spectre Pack example is great because Norman remembers this. We were all playing, and we were playing Mass Effect 3
guys.
with Veronica. Veronica Belmont, and we were looking at we're in between levels.
We were mocking the download. The
Yeah,
paid
and it's
download.
like Spectre Pack. You can either grind out 50,000
Yeah.
points or whatever, or you can just buy it for 100 Microsoft points or whatever it is, $1, $2. And she said, "I'm buying that," and I went, "Ha ha! You bought downloadable content." She's
Chump.
like. And she just said, "What? Ask yourself, what's more important to you, like your money or your time? Like $2 or like 3 hours of grinding this out?" And I'm like, "Shit, you know what? You're right. I'm spending the $2. I just want that shit
Next
now."
thing
Yeah.
you know, you've paid $120.
And of course, it adds up. And I did end up spending a lot of money buying because once you press that button once, it's like the hamster getting the
Yeah,
pellet. It's
totally.
it's
It's
easy.
your first kill.
Next
First
thing I
kill's
know,
always
I'm
the
a
hardest.
400-pound hamster, and the cage is too small to
and
contain me.
that is how they get you. And you're absolutely right because there does come a point where you realize that time is more valuable than money.
Although, I mean, to be fair, everybody has their own standards of value. If you have a lot of time to kill and you can only make a game purchase every 3 or 6 months or whatever, then
Buy Borderlands or Dark Souls
there are
and-
games out there that
Yes,
serve
it's
you.
part of why.
But you're right there. It's because as you get older, you accumulate more money, but you realize you're running out of time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, it's the only. Was it Gordon Gekko said that time is the most valuable asset because it's the only asset that you can never
Can't
recoup.
reacquire. Yeah.
It's gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. And so, you start to think about it more. It's kind of fatalistic.
Do you guys have a stack of unplayed games? These games that you want to play but you haven't gotten to?
From this
Yeah.
year or from
I'm not talking about TurboGrafx.
I've got like
Oh,
a
then.
dozen from this generation that I would love to play.
At some point, I'm gonna have to play Walking Dead. I haven't played it at all.
Yeah,
I have a
I think
scary
those
backlog
are
of
two different
stuff.
conversations because there are games from this year that we need to play so
Yeah.
we can debate them.
Yeah. A lot of it is that sort of stuff.
I've got to ask with the generation coming over, is there going to be a games of the generation? Are
Vinny
you
was
going to
just
go
saying,
through the
yeah.
whole
We were just talking about that the other
PS3,
day.
Xbox 360, Wii?
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what
When would you be doing that?
I think you do it once the new console launches,
Or maybe right before.
or right around that time frame when you can really see like, okay,
It's not like they're going to stop making.
they won't stop. I mean,
So with the-
FIFA and NCAA football will come out for these current consoles for 4 years from or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
But
when did they
even
stop
the
making
downloadables.
PS2 games? It wasn't that long
the,
ago,
the-
right?
the PS2 game came out this year.
Yeah, they still
So,
occasionally
yeah.
make them. Like I said, the
sports
franchises
stuff,
that
yeah.
people still. It seems weird to me that people still keep investing in those legacy systems when they could probably just skipped a couple of games and bought the new system. But
Yeah, but
I guess-
it's so cheap at some point where if you don't really care about video games
Right.
as deeply as we do,
Right.
then that stuff's totally fine. You just want whatever. I'll just get I just care about college football and it's got the new rosters and that's all I really need.
But that is an interesting thing to do, kind of when one generation is clearly reaching its end to kind of do
Yeah.
a generation-wide best of.
Yeah, I can't even think of. Well,
mean, it's
no,
a- it's a-
no.
it's a
For
hard-
Wii, it'd be Wii Sports, right? I mean, it'd have to be.
Super
Yeah.
Mario
Or-
Galaxy.
You think that trumps Wii Sports? I mean, Wii Sports.
Well, I mean, I'm
Wii
just saying
Sports.
you pick 5 from. I mean,
Sure.
you can't pick one from a generation. That's
Sure, you could.
You could, but
For Wii, I can.
there's-
For Wii, I can tell. I mean, I think Super Mario Galaxy is maybe the best video game I ever
Best,
played.
favorite, most important, defined.
Yeah, I guess that's
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah, I
define
think- yeah,
because if it's
of course,
most
personal
important,
taste
best or
is a
whatever,
big
but-
deal as well.
Yeah,
But yeah, Wii's pretty easy because it's even at the end of the generation, it's kind of slim pickings, right?
yeah.
I mean, the
Stuff you
real
cared about.
standout games on Wii are few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, with Xbox
Rabbids
and PlayStation,
define
there's
the
a
console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty huge
That's
selection.
that's like a
Red
month-long
Dawn.
debate.
Yeah. Well,
Even
Yeah.
even to narrow it down
That's
to
a lot
just
of
like a top
content.
10 would be a big
My-
deal.
I think
I
one
know what I would
content.
say, but
I think you guys should just lock yourselves in a room and just not leave. Go 40, 60 hours.
now
how
that we
long
have
it
this
takes.
great air-conditioned podcast studio,
Yeah,
we
it's
can
amazing,
totally do
isn't
that.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the level of lack of like being able to podcast someplace that you're not pouring sweat at the end of 90 minutes is just it's wonderful.
But it's not as manic as it used to be, you know. now that the walls aren't dripping by the end of the podcast.
There's a kind of quiet desperation that a real unfortunate room
Yeah.
gives to
Yep.
that. But
Yep.
but I don't. I gotta say, I don't miss that. Like I miss
Yeah.
a lot of stuff about that. I mean, honestly, we were talking about this earlier with I guess it was after Ryan left. I mean, and with Alexis too. I mean, we miss. I miss seeing you guys every day. I didn't really appreciate how much shit you guys post on a daily basis until I started kind of watching the videos pop up. And like you kind of got a little like what you needed by osmosis a lot of times
Right.
when we were sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
And now I have to kind of just be like, man, why would they quick look? I don't want to watch a farming sim quick look, but why would they? It's got to be real dumb if they did it. So maybe I should watch. And I'm like, hey Ryan, should I watch this farming sim? And he's like, just leave me the fuck alone. I'm working over here. and you have this whole thing happening. So yeah, it's
Speaking of
weird.
platforms that are nearing the end of their life, when we last spoke to you about the Vita,
man.
you came onto you were our guest when
Yeah.
when it first came out, and you were pretty bearish about it. I mean, I think you having a fairly out there on a limb quote about like this. I can't remember exactly what you said, but like this is a system that has no place, or it's just not the right time for this thing. And I don't know. It's been a while since then, but
I sat next to a junior high kid on my flight back to town
Anecdotes.
earlier this week, and the whole flight he was playing Fruit Ninja on his phone. And it was this moment of just like, you know, it's one thing that we talk about it. We talk about, you know, like kids, you know, moving away from the traditional handheld market and,
So do
and
you
getting into
feel like
the
between
phone
now and
tablet.
then your prediction on that has kind of been borne out? Because it seems like the Vita is struggling to kind of find a place for itself.
It really is. I know that they've got some stuff lined up for next year that'll, you know, potentially be interesting. I mean, they're definitely out
Adam's
there.
working on that stuff now too,
they're,
right?
they're definitely out there working on getting Vita development rolling.
But the sales have been really flat so far.
yeah,
right?
there's no good reason to buy a Vita.
I think
or there are very few.
The one
good
use
reasons to
case
buy
for
Vita.
that thing that I've seen that finally tempted me was this crossplay stuff. Like,
I tell you
where
what killed me.
basically-
I was watching one of Ryan's. Ryan was a guest on one of the CBS family. I think what is it? Quoted for Truth.
Yes, yeah.
He was a guest on there, and man, he fucking took no prisoners.
Yeah.
He went on there with those two guys, and I guess one of the guys there was like he's pretty pro Vita, and Ryan was just all over him. Like a
Yeah.
fucking junkyard dog.
Like,
Saying, well, why?
why?
Give me one
Why?
fucking good reason.
Yeah.
Why? Name one good game on the Vita, and it's worth getting the system for. And the guy honestly just couldn't do it.
so what's
Yeah.
the crossplay stuff?
So all the
Is
good
this
Vita,
transferring?
all the good kinda, yeah. So all the good Vita
kinda.
games so far are not only Vita games. Like they're selling a lot of stuff on PSN that you also get like in the same transaction. You only buy it once and you get it for PSN and
So, like, Sound
Vita.
Shapes.
Sound Shapes, Retro City Rampage. There's a lot of others that are going to do it. It would seem like
the
they're
pinball arcade.
Yeah, seem like
all,
they're
all their
ripe for it.
downloadable tables work on both.
Oh, cool.
But
So
I
how
was-
about that? Okay.
So I was playing Retro City Rampage on Steam, but then I was seeing people who bought it on PS3 talking about like playing it on their Vita on the train home, and then like the save file syncs over 3G, and you immediately just walk in and start playing it on the PS3 and just pick your progress right
That's
back up.
interesting.
PlayStation All Stars, their Smash Brothers clone has that in there too. It'll be cross compatible multiplayer.
That's
and stuff.
and
It's interesting.
I mean, but
I think
these are
it's-
old guy games, not kid games, right?
It's
It's like
a bit
Soundchapes
of
is
a-
an old guy game.
Yeah.
Retro
Yeah,
City
Sony
Grandparents is an
just-
old guy
PlayStation
game.
All-Stars
Like
is not an
PlayStation in
old guy.
general,
Okay.
just it's not a very exciting holiday season for them. Like the PlayStation All Stars is their flagship game for the holiday, right? Is that a big deal?
Little Big Planet Karting is also coming out, but
Yeah.
they're not marketing their games.
I kind of
at
feel
all.
like anytime you take an
So-
established franchise and put those characters in go-karts, that's you basically
Wrap it
admit-
up.
That's you've
Yeah,
given up,
this-
right? That's you say, yeah, this franchise is fucked. We got nothing now.
Yeah.
We're just going to
Yeah,
put
I
the
love
characters in
Little Big
go-karts.
Right.
Fucking
yeah.
Crash Bandicoot, Sonic. As soon as you do that, you're like, yep, we're done.
Crash Team Racing was
Bottom of the
pretty
barrel.
good. Was pretty good, but yes, yeah, it's
And now they're doing a Little Big Planet.
yeah, but you know,
It's like
it still has
wearing
all the creation
It
stuff
is like
in it,
wearing
which is kinda
sweatpants
interesting, but-
like out, not in normal life. Just saying, yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Says the man wearing sweatpants right
Yeah.
now.
Matching the same color shirt.
Just to be clear, you didn't even change into the sweatpants like
No,
Norm
I
did
came
midway
here
through.
like
You
this.
came
But I
prepared,
knew I was
that's
going to do
all,
a
yeah.
24-hour podcast. I wanted to be comfortable.
I wanted to-
Over in
It's the
an
same
Uber.
same when you're on a long plane journey. You
I
just
wanted,
want to be
actually
comfortable.
wanted to ask, since you mentioned brushing your teeth, what
Yeah.
you guys' personal hygiene standards are for this thing.
I have a toothbrush
Yeah.
and toothpaste.
I did not bring toothbrush.
Fail.
I probably wouldn't have either.
but your mouth is open enough while you're doing
I'm
this.
drinking
that
a lot
it's
of
not-
water.
Yeah,
I
so
have
it's-
2 underwear changes.
Wow.
Do you need that?
No.
Are you
I
gonna-
have one for emergencies.
Are you
No,
gonna
it's
are
just
you
in
gonna
case it was
sponge bath?
too warm in here. I didn't want to get any.
Are you gonna
sweaty
sponge bathe
yeah.
yourself in between?
I'm talking about undershirts as well.
Okay.
It's not just
Okay.
not just.
Our
shorts.
office has showers.
yeah.
I miss having showers in there. That was one of the best parts of the Sausalito. It was one of the only great parts of the Sausalito. office.
did put that. In.
There was a
That's
shower
right, yeah.
upstairs.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
So when our shower broke and we only have one bathroom, and I was like, shit, I got to go to work. I just started here. I can't just not show up to work because I don't have a shower. I was like, I got to get in early and shower.
Not
so that
showing up on
people
your
don't
first
think
day
I'm
would be a real
homeless.
Matt Bodega moment.
Yeah.
So
Bodega. Yeah. So yeah. It's,
What other controversial lightning rod type things can we say just to annoy people about video games? Because I feel like that's what I feel like we've done pretty good so far.
The PC is dead.
No, we already talked about that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we scientifically determined by asking Jeff that the current wave. I'd be interested in your opinion on this though, as well as a PC kind of guy.
Yeah.
Is the current wave of PC revival due to the end of the console cycle? Yeah, the console's getting long in the tooth. Is it going to continue into the next console cycle?
That's
Or
not
do you think
ju-
this is an isolated 2-year thing that's going to peter out by the time 2014 rolls
That's
around?
part of it, but it seems like a whole combination of factors, right? I mean, hardware has gotten to a certain point. Publishers have identified the profit potential on the PC now that Steam is established.
That's true.
Like, you know, it's.
Do we have
it's
any
kind of
idea
it's
what kind of
build
numbers
it-
Steam
it's kind
games
of a,
make?
in terms of revenue
Yeah,
split
what
or
they
like
spent,
sales
what they sell.
numbers?
No, we know what the revenue
They
split
don't
is.
really release numbers unless they do. I mean, you know, typically they keep that stuff.
So,
close to
but
the
I
vest,
mean,
Developers do.
Is a PC PC title on Steam that sells really well, like a Skyrim or a Saints Row or something like that? Is it still selling a small fraction of what it sells on the Xbox and the PS3?
Well, again, we don't know because they don't release.
Yeah, we don't
numbers.
know.
it depends on the game. So we can start to extrapolate some of that data based on our achievement system on the site.
Okay.
Because we'll have people syncing accounts to the site. We have a bunch of Xbox accounts. We can't really do it with PlayStation 3 because we don't have as many users.
Right.
But
And
for Steam and for Xbox, we have a lot, and we just get straight up raw user counts based on our audience, which is large enough that you can start to sort of.
But I got to assume it skews real hard toward like super enthusiasts rather than the
yeah.
kind of dudes who are going on buying Madden and Call of
Right,
Duty,
yeah,
which is
the
probably
people
okay.
who are going to take their achievement stuff
Yeah.
and sync it to a site.
Because those guys aren't
Yeah.
playing PC games anyway.
Right. And it's even on. There are definitely exceptions to it, but even in cases where you go like, this is very clearly a PC game, Xbox will be a little ahead.
You might.
Okay.
It's not like
I
in
don't
terms
even, I
of-
don't
in
even
terms
know
of
how you
accounts.
buy a PC game in a box anymore. I know they still sell them, but like GameStop
lot
basically makes it
don't.
a fucking
Yeah.
treasure hunt.
Walk into a
to try
Best Buy and see
Yeah.
like
Shelf of.
I got-
hey,
You
here's
have to
SimCity
basically walk into a
3000.
GameStop or a big box store, and like finding the PC section is like they almost don't want you to find it.
Yeah, like I got back from my trip and there was a copy of XCOM for PC sitting on my desk.
A box?
And I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why does this exist?
I know.
Is the code inside or actual
Yeah,
DVDs?
It's
Yeah.
a Steamworks game, so yeah.
I mean,
it's
that's
just a code,
the
but-
saddest thing. Now, if you go to last time I was in a GameStop, I asked for the PC section because I was curious to see what they had because
Yeah.
they hear about it's being increasingly ghettoized, and the PC section was Steam and Warcraft gift cards.
Do you
Oh,
think?
That's
wow.
it. They're just
Wow.
codes for the digital version
Yeah.
of the
It's
game.
bizarre because, I mean, yeah, you can't play that game without going on
Internet,
Steam,
yeah.
authenticating with that code, and then having to be online to play the game. So why do you need the disc in the first
Does
place?
this-
Just, who are they serving?
It's a faster install than
Yeah,
for,
it
for,
is.
for people
And
like
some people
like
still
me that
feel
have crap
comfortable having a
internet.
physical disc.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, do those boxes say CD, DVD drive required? Or can you just put the code into Steam?
You can just put the code into Steam and download it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Something put on the shelf.
Yeah. But yeah, it comes with the disc. Like, they sent over Borderlands 2 PC ahead of a release, and it was annoying because you have the disc, but it's release controlled. So you enter the Steam code. You put the disc in to install it, and as part of that, it says enter your CD key, just like any PC game has been for years.
Right.
But it's actually the Steam key, so it actually does the complete install. But at the end of it, it runs Steam and goes like, yeah, you can't play this yet.
And then you have to download some special thing, or
well,
something.
You have to wait until like it acts as a preload. Like, I was able to
right.
preload the game off of a DVD.
That's nice if you have terrible internet.
Yeah. So it was good in that kind of limited use case,
Well,
but
it makes sense because your Comcast does have bandwidth limits.
right. Yeah, sure. And someday maybe I'll be able to switch to Comcast. It's been the weirdest ordeal.
Oh my God, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard. Someday,
what are you
looking
stuck with
forward to
now?
Comcast, sweet.
I have
merciful
DSL.
Jeebus.
Okay.
So it's
provided by whom?
Sonic.net, and they're
good.
great. They're an awesome company. They're terrific,
Yeah, I've
but
heard good
in my
things about
area,
Sonic.
and they offer faster speeds. But in my neighborhood, I'm too far from whatever, so I
what
can't get
are you
anything better
getting?
than regular DSL. Was it like 4 megabits? It's
Down?
it's the upstream that kills me, basically. Like, I'm getting like, I can upload like 70K a second.
Well, you were also saying
shit.
like Steam downloads are taking you hours.
And Steam,
right?
yeah, Steam, I'm downloading stuff on Steam overnight. It's just it's not a tenable situation. I need to be able to upload videos to the site from home. That sort
Right,
of
that's
stuff.
awful.
And so even when I was complaining about it on Twitter, like Dane Jasper, who started Sonic,
He's really active.
Yeah.
It's like when I complain about Comcast,
Dane's great. Like,
specifically,
yeah. And, like,
he's like, we can hook you up, man.
Yeah.
Just let me give me your.
Yeah, it's almost like a
we
mom
can-
and pop operation because I was
Yeah.
really frustrated with Comcast recently. I asked about Sonic, and someone from Sonic emailed me going, "Hey, we can help you." It's like they really want to help you.
They are awesome. They're up. They started up where I live. They're up in Santa Rosa, and
they're laying fiber, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not in
So
your area.
someday they'll get there, and
Thanks.
someday I'll be able to go back to them. But right now, I need speed, and Comcast is the only option in my
you poor
neighborhood.
bastard.
And they,
Yep.
So I called.
Well, okay.
I went through the process of ordering Comcast. They sent a guy out to do the install. I bought a cable modem. Knew that going in. Like, I don't want to lease the modem from them or whatever.
right.
Good move.
He comes into the house and I show him where I want the cable, and then he goes, "I'm going to go out to the truck. I'll be back in a couple of minutes." Comes back in and says, "I can't do this. You don't have cable in your house."
You never had cable in your house
I
ever?
said, "That's why you're here." And he said, "No, you don't have cable coming to your house. So I have to, yeah."
Oh, like from the pole to
from the pole.
wall.
Well, it's all underground, but yes.
Okay.
So from there, the next step was, in 3 to 5 business days, some guys will come out and do what they need to do, and then they'll put a tag on your door, and then you call me, and then you call and schedule another appointment, and we can get you going. That was a couple of months ago, at least, and no
follow
tag. I eventually, like after about a month, I called at Comcast and had to navigate the phone tree, which is weird when you don't have an account number.
Zero
but you
zero zero zero
technically-
zero 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 zero.
When I did that, it just said we're closed. So I had to like enter an account number from the install process, and then that failed a couple of times. And it was like, all right, we'll connect you to somebody. And then she looked at it and said, and it was this moment of just like, sorry about that. Let me look. Okay, I got your file here. Yeah, I'll just wait it out a little bit. It seems like they've been out there a couple times. And in the middle of this, apparently, so I was told
Weren't there
I
some
wouldn't
shady
need
characters outside your house as well?
So
that may or may
I
not have been Comcast
was
guys?
told that I wouldn't need to be home for this process to
Right.
occur. And I guess there were some guys in front of my house making a racket and being real loud and pounding on the door and yelling Comcast.
Classy.
And like on the phone in the in the front yard and stuff like that where the neighbors noticed, and then when kind of came and said like, hey, there were people here and they said they were from Comcast. I said, that's fine, they're supposed to be here from Comcast, but they were pounding on the door, and I'm like, well, they weren't supposed to pound on the door, and there's no tag. What the hell's going on? So then I thought like, oh, this is a racket. Like the install guys in collusion with these people, and they're breaking into my house.
Get your Comcast from some door-to-door guy selling newspapers and magazines and Comcast?
At least that would have been a person, right?
You called an 800 number, right?
No, I ended up doing it over the internet. I
that
ended up
was your
just
first
checking
mistake.
boxes. So
You can't get Comcast over the internet.
Before doing that, I went to the Comcast store in my town and
that's
walked
also-
in, and there was a dude there who, I don't want to be ageist, but he clearly has never used the internet before.
Yeah.
He just looked like, and he was instructing someone
That young, huh?
who also had never used the internet before, saying like instructing her on how to port her phone number over to Comcast. And then there was a line of people waiting to pay their cable bill in person, which is always a good sign.
That means, you know what that means. That means you're in danger of losing cable. That means you got the
Right.
That's the day.
So I was in there for a while, saw this huge line, saw this tech support awesomeness going on, and I just like pretended I had a phone call and walked out. I was just like, I can't deal with this, and then went back and got it on the internet.
If you took an Apple store and reversed every decision that makes it a pleasant place to shop,
Yeah.
that is, I think, the Comcast store and the Apple store are on the furthest sides of. They shouldn't even call that a store.
It's not really
because
a
they
store,
don't
yeah.
sell
They don't sell
things
anything,
there.
yeah.
It's just a place to go and get abused by Comcast.
Like, pay
At the
your
same
bill
time,
or
like,
whatever,
do they
yeah.
really care?
The
Because
Comcast
they-
store is like it's like going to the DMV.
No, no,
I mean,
the
it's just
DMV is
miserable.
nicer.
It had a real DMV vibe
Yeah.
to it.
Well, much like the DMV, they've got you by the balls almost everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
it's like you
if
got.
you want,
where else are you going to go?
yeah, if you want that
Who
level,
else are you going to license
if
your
want-
vehicle?
yeah.
No one.
If you want that level of service for the internet, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're
I'm
screwed.
going to call them again, and actually, you know, I've mentioned some of this stuff on the podcast, and we have people who work for Comcast
They're
in
lovely
various
people,
parts of the
I'm
country that listen to the podcast and go like, this is crazy. I actually have access to the files. I'm going to look into it. And then, you know, I started getting DMs from a guy who was just like, have they called you? Did they call you today? And if you're watching, no, they didn't. They didn't call. He said,
Maybe
okay.
you're on the trouble list. Were you on the naughty list this year?
You're on the watch list.
I don't know.
Troublemaker. That might be it.
I don't really know.
Gerstmann, eh?
Yeah. So it's I want to pay these people money for service, and I'm totally unable to even get like a straight answer about what is going on.
Honestly, that's your first mistake.
And now I'm worried that like a bill's going to show up or something like, oh, you've had service with us for 3 months when you filled out that form.
You just need
But
to go
I have
climb
not-
up the pole and plug right in.
Yeah, I have not given them a payment instrument, so I'm
That's
you know,
good.
at least.
I
at
don't
least-
know how you get by with the internet you got right now. It sounds miserable. Like, can you even play games online with those?
Yeah, totally.
speeds?
It's fine
that's
for
okay.
games. It's totally fine. It's just
But downloading takes forever.
uploading, just
Okay.
I've
not
gotten
reasonable.
I've gotten so used to no matter how big the game is on Steam, like I basically don't have time to get up out of my chair and go do something else. From the time I start
Good God.
downloading it until
for
I
me,
can play
it's an
it.
overnight download.
Like, that's so
you know,
crazy to me to
it's-
hear that.
Yeah.
I usually like come home, I start the download, then I go make dinner.
Yeah.
And then by the time dinner's done, my game's there.
The
like
longest,
20, 45
the
minutes
longest
to
in
get
the
outside.
last couple of years, the longest anything's taken was Max Payne 3, which is
That's
30
massive.
gigabytes, and even that was only like an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's
What?
insane.
Wow, that's some good
30
speeds.
gigs an
Yeah,
hour and a
I
half?
That's
pull like
crazy.
4 meg a second.
on like
from
launch
Steam.
night?
Yeah, it was the night that it unlocked.
Oh, wow.
That Monday night.
See, I got to download it twice because the preload got
Oh,
jacked
right,
up,
yeah.
and then it was like, "You need to download this again." I was like,
Great.
Man, 30 gigs. I don't know if I want to play Max Payne. I could just go get an Xbox disc.
Do you guys
good to go?
Do you guys feel the little nagging compulsion about bandwidth consumption
Constantly.
now that they have instituted their caps or they're moving toward their tiered service? Like I
will-
look at something like Max Payne and I'm like, fuck, that's like a tenth of
Yeah,
my
that's a tenth of your
allotment for
allocation.
the month.
I'm going to tell you.
I find myself downloading stuff at work like XBLA games and putting them on a USB so I don't have to download like 2 extra gigs at home. Like
So
that's
you
a
should
terrible
feel
way
that-
to live.
That's the bandwidth equivalent of never using secondary weapons in video games.
Yes,
Because
totally.
you're worried they're going to run
Never
out of
use your
ammo.
health kit.
Yeah.
Like just reload your
Oh, man, I
save.
always
I
do
might need
that.
that health kit later.
You've got the guard gun and you hide it in the bush and never use it,
Yep.
but it's there in case.
I mean,
Yeah.
I play games that way. So yeah.
I played
Personal
entire
problem.
games without using the rocket launcher or the good guns
Yeah,
for fear
totally.
that I'll
Yep.
need it for a boss
I'm
fight or something.
trying to get away from that.
It's real hard to break.
Yeah, and just not consuming because you know.
But it's way more
Well,
fun.
it's like in Mass Effect when you have the big nuke, right?
Yeah.
The
The nuke
shots
in Mass
for the
Effect?
Terminator.
right.
It's way more fun to really just fan out and try everything. You know, like that really doesn't serve any purpose to be like just that restrictive.
So the thing that we were talking about moments before that has completely escaped my mind at this point. We were talking about cable modems,
Bandwidth.
Yeah.
bandwidth. Oh, the thing when we started working from home, you know, during that 4-month period when we didn't have an office after we stopped having an office that was with you guys, and you
Right.
guys went to the land of really fast internet, and we went to my house. I learned really quickly that I can do easily, if I'm uploading and downloading video, I can do 300 gigs of data in a month, no problem. Like piece of cake.
Yeah.
Couple of 6 gig videos a week, you're totally in like Flynn. And they never hassled me at all. Like I never got a note or anything. And this was after they were in the beyond 250 gigs thing before they implemented the 300.
So has that
gigabyte
begun?
limit.
Which, I mean, if people aren't aware, that is an actual overage scenario where you're paying more if you go over that cap.
My hunch, and this is purely a hunch, because I went over 4 months running, like to the tune of 125 gigs. I wonder if they're looking at people using protocols, and if you're using stuff that is of questionable legality, then you get the note, assuming you're not an egregious overuser.
Huh.
Yeah, I
like
think you
not
have to go
penalizing.
way over on a consistent basis before they'll really
not
start.
so-
hassling
We
you.
didn't get it billed extra or
Huh.
anything.
So you think they're actually going out of their way not to penalize
They may-
people who are using things legally?
They may
That's-
have just not rolled it out.
It seems unlike them, but
Well, it's a much harder position to take if when the person who's complaining about the unjust policy, they say, well, what did you use all this data for? We see this much, this and this and this, and a bunch of BitTorrent going across
Hosting
our routers.
Linux.
it's a lot of Linux
Appliance.
ISOs.
Yeah. You must really love Linux. How many machines do you have running Linux in your house,
No,
Mr.
it's
Chen?
I share for other people. Let other people.
Oh, you're a
download
team player.
on launch day.
I mean, it's the year of the Linux desktop, so
It
he's
is.
giving them to everybody
Yeah,
who knows.
yeah.
turn it over.
Did you see? Apparently, they're doing beta signups for Steam Linux. Like that they have
Well, yeah,
I saw some link circulating that was apparently the sign up for that.
Well, for a long time, Valve's done Linux servers for Source Engine games. But a lot of people were really upset about that because they felt like that was a total ripoff for people to run servers on an OS that they didn't support to play the games on.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
The battle for the Linux desktop is already over, and OS 10 and Android 1, guys.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean the situation on that's like I don't know exactly what. I wonder if they're maybe hedging their bets that some
In case
like,
Windows 8 is because it's like Gabe had a lot of statements
Gabe
about
doesn't like-
or a lot of sky is falling type stuff about Windows 8.
You know, we had Brad Muir was in here earlier today, and he is
That was yesterday.
for us it was earlier today, but thank you.
Just letting you know.
It
It is light out.
It is. The sun is up.
Yeah. We've got a creeping end.
That was a wonderful
Wow.
thing to happen. I was excited when I came out from changing clothes, and I was like, "Shit, the sun's out!"
Is this like your Las Vegas casinos strategy to not get you tired?
this
to
is
not-
our.
pump
so
oxygen.
this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
actually
where's the
making it
oxygen
worse,
feed?
I
I
think.
wish we had oxygen. That would have been really
This,
smart.
and people can't see this obviously, but the
There's skylights.
skylights we have, the covered
Taped over,
skylights,
yeah.
taped over skylights. What looks like butcher paper.
I need to tape over my skylight so I can
is
play
how
Kinect
we can
games.
shoot video in here and not have it being bright and control the lighting.
Yeah. So that's what we do. It's not something we're proud of, but
Yeah.
it's what we have to do to survive.
But what was Brad Muir angry about?
He's the closed nature of the Windows Store. I mean, the
sure.
fact that you can only put Windows apps on ARM tablets, ARM Windows devices through the Windows Store is, kind of a step backwards.
Yeah, I didn't have much good to say about working inside any of these.
Yeah, they don't like
walled
Microsoft at
garden
Double
type
Fine, I think.
ecosystems.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Huh.
This is kind of surprising. I guess their next upcoming titles probably won't be games for Windows Live or XBLA games.
Connect Party. That's
Well, that's true.
Microsoft published.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, and they have the sequel to Happy Action Theater.
That is Connect Party.
Oh, that's
They
Connect
renamed
Party.
it to Connect Party.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah. It was originally
Happy action.
not called that. And
Oh, that is some enormous horse shit.
so, I mean, I think it'll actually work out
Oh,
really
they're gonna
well
sell a
for
lot
them
more
because it'll
copies,
probably
but-
sell a lot more copies
Fuck.
with that name. But yeah, it's
Well, at least they waited until they did it before the game was out this time.
Right.
I mean, sorry, Brad. I hope you're not watching. I feel bad every time.
Let's
every time I do
get
that.
you guys to do some Mad Libs.
okay.
Should we do a Mad Lib?
All
Why
right.
don't
Hold on,
you
we're-
guys collaborate on a Mad Lib?
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll let you both.
Brad wasn't a Mad Lib star last year, so
No,
I'm gonna let you.
guys-
Wait,
Worked a
I'm
little
kind
blue.
of sad that we're not
Oh,
going to
yes.
get separate Mad Libs.
Right.
I'm
You
gonna
guys
let
will
you
collaborate.
choose between Mad Libs
Belching.
from Outer Space, Monster Mad Libs, or Star Wars Mad Libs.
one of the answers
Not
has to
Star
be
Wars.
Connect Party.
I'm thinking space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outer Space. All
Yeah.
right, let's pick
It's a
something.
good one.
This Outer Space. I think this Outer Space one has been a little bit disappointing as the Mad Libs go so far.
Let's see.
It's all about
There
what
was
you
one
put
about
into them.
Copernicus.
The one about
Yeah, you
Copernicus
get out
is
what you
pretty
put
strong.
in. So
Copernicus was a real winner.
Get
I
out
think
what you
what's
put
more
in.
disappointing are the answers we've gotten so far, the fill-ins. So don't disappoint.
What do we got here? That's that one. Was
Blueberry.
Copernicus. This one filled up quickly.
that was pretty good. You caught a good one.
So someone in chat says, "Hey, I am correct. If you exceed your bandwidth, someone reviews your account prior to taking action. If no torrents or something similar,
Oh, wow.
you are fine."
Oh, geez, that's
Interesting.
That,
So-
That's good to
That
know.
is shockingly
I
noble
mean-
of them.
Yeah, well, when Gina was sick,
I thought they were just looking to charge overages.
And at home a
like
lot,
at
yeah.
home because she couldn't do anything.
Right.
Her back was fucked up. she basically spent a lot of time watching Netflix and reading books and stuff. And it turns out, if you watch a lot of Netflix, you can really rack some bandwidth.
I was like, because my girlfriend works nights, and she would come home in the morning and just put on Netflix and then fall asleep in front of it. And now they start the next episode automatically.
Right, yeah.
So she would lay there for like 8
stuff.
hours with Netflix streaming every day, and I was freaking out. So hearing that is totally encouraging.
Yeah.
All right.
So just don't pirate. Everything's cool.
I hope that my Comcast situation works out well, because Ryan is 2 blocks away and he has it, and it's super fast.
Oh, that's just going to make it worse.
I was thinking about building
line of
like
sight.
I was
Get like
thinking
a
of building,
antenna.
yeah, like
Fuck
getting a
those guys.
can and some
Double
tin
up,
foil
man.
and
You should
figuring
get
it
that
out.
acoustic
And,
coupler and start
Ethernet
freaking his
cable.
internet.
Right? Yeah, I'll get some alligator clips over there and figure it out.
Just go over to his house and be like, no, don't. I'm gonna go open this. I'm
I
adjusting
know
your
his
satellite dish,
Wi-Fi
man.
password. I should just
Oh,
you
yeah,
know.
totally.
Yeah.
Should be out there with a dish, just fucking
Into a spare bedroom.
Bury some Cat 5 through the neighbor's backyard.
Right.
Okay, Mad
All
Libs
right,
stuff so we
so-
get Darren in here.
This is for both of you. As I feel free to just blur. I'll take the first or the best one that you guys have. As always, I encourage you to be as base as possible with this stuff
That's the
because
only thing
usually
I
how
know.
you get the best gags. Noun.
You can't think about it too long. That's you gotta.
Placenta.
Okay, gross.
There you
Thanks.
go. So you're off to a good start. A name of a person, male.
Cornelius. Sorry, I don't want to take all of them.
No.
It's pretty good so far.
Noun.
Another
Pig.
noun? Okay.
Pig.
Pig.
It's a good thing you guys are working blue.
Plural
CBS
noun.
has changed you, man.
Pigs.
Oh, come on.
Cobras.
Adjective.
I like cobras. Everybody in chat is typing Norm's asshole.
That's not an adjective.
I think they're still on
Norm's
noun. There might be a
asshole
little
was
bit of
probably the most
lag.
successful one we've had so far tonight.
Nah.
That's
It's a really disturbing comment.
tumescent.
I'm glad I didn't
Yeah,
say that.
Tumescent's a good one. All right.
Oh, nicely. That's
Tumescent?
real specific.
Or turgid, if you like.
We got two messages.
Oh, and I do.
Place.
Come on. No, turd is bad.
Jupiter.
Are you going to pronounce the J the proper way? Silent?
Type of liquid.
Jupiter?
Urine.
Really?
Really?
We would have also accepted
Verb
diarrhea.
past tense.
Wait, did you get a liquid?
Yeah, I got liquid.
Urine.
Wait, what is it?
Urine.
Boned.
I didn't hear that.
Boned.
Boned.
Exclamation.
Gadzooks.
Wow.
Interesting. You're a 1930s cartoon.
Plural noun.
Diving boards.
Diving boards?
Why
really?
not?
Okay.
Adjective.
Fancy.
You really started off strong last year with felching, as I recall,
Yeah.
Brad.
Noun. We can still finish strong.
Skullomania.
This is not the work of
What?
of Cards Against Humanity champion, undefeated, I believe, Brad Shoemaker. Noun?
Noun.
Oh, you still. How about just skull? How about skull?
Okay, all right.
You and I will.
City.
All right.
What is it?
City.
Oh,
Denver.
Name of person, female.
Kate.
We're
I don't,
speechless.
yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
No, this is
I don't want to work people I know into this thing.
probably a good
How
idea.
about,
Yeah.
how about Bobby with an eye?
Department
How
store.
about Bobby with an eye?
Department store?
Department
really?
store?
That's what it says.
Got shocks.
Got shocks.
Montgomery Wards.
Adverb.
What about Mulva for the woman's name?
Mulva.
Yeah, Mulva.
Maniacally.
Dolores.
Dolores.
Yeah, maniacally, sure.
All right. I think this one may be a mixed bag. I never know until I read them.
I'm really disappointed.
Fans of Mad Libs
already.
rejoice.
Are there fans of Mad Libs?
If you like Mad Libs,
Everyone
these are the Mad
except
Libs
you.
for you.
This one is called rockets. Space travel is the result of the discovery of rocket power. Many years ago, a European placenta named Cornelius began experimenting with a long, hollow pig that had an explosive mixture of sodium and pigs at one end.
You.
He put this tumescent device on an inclined board and aimed it at Jupiter. Then he poured hydrochloric urine on the sodium and the whole thing boned for 10 minutes. When he regained consciousness, he said gadzooks and packed up his clothes and diving boards and moved to Amsterdam, where he married a fancy widow who owned a skull shop. Some years later, the world became aware of rockets when a scientist at Denver University named Kate sent off to Gottschalks for one, and that is why today we are able to fly maniacally to the moon.
That's
See,
I think there's an internal logic to that totally works.
I feel like they do kind of hold up. Yeah.
I really think what these are is idiocracy textbooks. I think that's my
That's kind of
lesson
what that is kind of what we're creating here inadvertently.
out of this whole thing.
I'm going to do one. I'm going to try and do one before it's over that is as filthy as I could possibly.
Well, we have a
make
whole
possible.
hour at the end of the show. It's just you, me, and
Let's
Norm.
just do that and go for all out filth.
We can do bad stuff. Thank you guys so much for coming by. Jeff
Yeah,
Gerstmann,
good to
Brad
be here.
Shoemaker. Thank you for the dim sum and the microphones, respectively.
Yeah.
It's always lovely to see you.
Good to see you guys.
We should do
Thanks for having
something
us.
dumb more often.
Yes, thank you very much. That was great.
And I'll bring your microphones back sometime next week. I
All right,
guess.
that's
So,
cool.
yeah.
No rush.
Well, there's only two of us really, so
Okay,
I mean,
all right.
we got way more microphones than we need right now. It turns out.
No, you never know when you're going to want to mic a
That's
whole room
true.
and just
You might
run around
want
talking.
to
all
record yourself in stereo.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna put some microphones around on everybody's desks so we can just talk. We'll wear headphones. We'll talk to each other across the
we
internet.
level adjust it all day.
We're just gonna
It's really
Skype from
instant
desk to desk.
messaging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Great.
Do a Google Hangout. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
And while Jeff and Brad clear, go ahead. No, you
right.
just
See you guys.
we don't do breaks or anything. Are you
Make a
crazy?
mess.
Yeah, knock as much shit over as you can on the way out.
Pocky is this? Salty Pocky.
We that sounds
That
awful.
sounds like it's from a Mad
Don't
Lib. It
use
certainly doesn't belong in real
Mad Lib.
life.
You go for it.
Yeah, take them.
Oh God, there's a whole lot of them in there still.
Yeah, there's a lot of pop puns.
While Jeff and Brad vacate set, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity to let everybody who's just tuning in now know what we're doing here. Norman Chan,
This is Octobercast.
Oktoberkast,
24 hours.
2012.
Not Octobercast.
24 hours of This Is Only a Test. We are podcasting live. We've been going for, if my math is right, about 15 hours now.
Yep, correct.
And we are raising money for Child's Play. I haven't looked at the total in a while. Where are we at?
I think
Do you
about
know?
11,000 right now.
Is that including the plus
not
another
including.
grand for the
Yes, not-
gun and 500 or 200 and something for the heart? We have some auction stuff going.
We have a couple more auctions to go.
One more. We have
Two more. Two more
Oh yeah,
auctions to
yeah.
go.
We do have 2 more auctions to go. And yeah, we're actually at 11,422. I think the West Coast is starting to wake up. 9:07 on Saturday morning. That is an entirely respectable time to wake up.
How nice for them.
It must be nice to wake up and get going.
It
like
is
a normal
really. It got
human
really
being.
cold.
I thought the cold helped actually. I found it brisk and refreshing. Joey Famelli, how are you doing over there? You're adjusting cameras for us right now.
I feel good. I feel good.
The
Joey's
sun comes
feeling
up and
good.
it brings a whole new life to the day, doesn't it?
Second win for push-ups. Joey's doing 1,000 push-ups also for Child's Play.
We call
charity.
it Guns for Kids, but it's really just about donating money to kids who need comfort in times of illness and woe. Is
And
what
the place
Child's Play is
to
all
donate.
About. It's tested.com/donate. It's on the bottom of the screen right there. If you're watching us on YouTube and you don't have any idea what this is all about, we're from tested.com. We do science and technology and kind of weird stuff that we think is interesting or cool. And you can
Everything that
chat
kind
with
of
us
surrounds
live. Yeah, you can chat with us live at tested.com/live. You need to create an account, but it takes like 5 minutes. We're not going to spam you or anything like that. And yeah, we're doing this. We have let's see, if we are at 15 hours now, by my math, that
9
means we have
hours.
9 more hours. We're almost two-thirds
Two-thirds, yes.
of the way through. Boy, I thought that was much better when I thought we had 8 hours to go a while ago. when
And
Gary said
let your
that.
friends know, in about 50 minutes, we are going to have a very special guest, Adam Savage, on.
Yeah, so
Coworker Adam Savage.
I'm the warm-up act.
You're the warm-up act for Adam
are.
Savage.
That's awesome.
No, it could be worse because Jeff Green has to follow him.
Yeah. But he's going to do the curly spin, though, right?
That's what I think he's going to get real fierce carpet burn here if he does the curly spin.
I would pay extra for that.
I think that's. I mean, Jeff Green, in my eyes, can really, after that fantastic EA live blog a few years ago at E3. Jeff Green is a kind of a personal hero of mine. He's done good work over the years. So, Darren Gladstone, how you doing, man?
Doing all right, man. How about yourself?
I love that shirt. That's fantastic. I don't even like Doctor Who very much. I like a Whovian.
Well,
I'm not a Whovian.
When I saw it, I actually got this at Comic-Con 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I saw this meatball shirt. I'm like, okay, cool, NASA. I'm like, wait a second.
Double
Yeah.
take.
Exactly. So
Wait, what?
that's kind of my criteria for any kind of shirt. It's like I have to like do a double take and say awesome on 2 levels.
So okay, that's I can see that because I've been looking for a good meatball shirt. I saw Flaming Lips a couple of weeks ago at a show, and one of their guys was wearing a meatball shirt that was just, it was like it's the big meatball, and,
Right.
and you don't, like, usually you see the little one now. So I've been. I mean, I have to go down to Ames and find the gift shop and see what I can find there.
So I was up in Marin the other
You
day.
should talk into the microphone, Darren.
Yes, that would probably help.
There are
Sorry.
people out there on the internet.
Whatever. No, so the other day I was actually up in Marin, and there's this little tiny shop in this tiny strip mall. It was like a space station store.
Okay.
Space Station, they call it the Space Station Museum.
The International Space Station.
But it was just
Museum.
like, it was like literally a little thing in a strip mall, and there was like
I know what you're talking about. It's
Okay.
the artifacts from space.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
a
really?
very small, in a strip mall, super small store, but they have it's a museum for Space Station artifacts.
Right, it was like they had a control panel there, and of course they sold some astronaut ice cream.
That stuff.
Do they have
very,
helmets and spacesuits and stuff?
So
It was very limited.
we did
very
an article
limited.
about people who collect stuff from space, and that
Right.
community is super competitive. Every time, I mean, they collect all the memorabilia for that, all the marketing stuff. The Coke cans developed for space, but
Hold on,
things
what's the
that-
difference of the Coke can?
Coke did a big promotion where they tried to see whether they could do a Coke can in space.
Did it work out?
No, they didn't. But they developed the cans, and so did Pepsi.
I think that's Red Bull's the next thing. They're going to shoot one of their
Yeah.
drinks into space.
But private
Okay.
collectors have, the patches, because they take up
Yeah.
a bunch of patches up for every mission, and then when they come back, members of the mission get the collectible patches, and like big events like Olympics, people collect the memorabilia, and some collectors even have like panels, like space, like hatches.
Really, like exploded off hatches from.
Well, just like hatches that have been in space from satellites or just craft that aren't used anymore.
Interesting.
yeah, so it was,
But this place, you're at strip mall.
yeah, totally.
And where is it?
It's in the basically. I was going to get some pizza in Novato, just
Up north yeah.
And it was I walked past it, and there's it looks like just like a normal storefront, like you expect to get your hair supercuts there or something.
Yeah, the affordable hair care leader.
Yes. Where I wish I can go.
Yeah, well, it happens to all of us one day. Hey, congratulations are in order, Darren. You welcomed a new addition to your family a few weeks ago.
Yes.
It seems like a few weeks ago to me, but I bet it's been longer than that now, probably.
I'm kind of in this like newborn diaper cleaning time warp where I have no idea what day it is most of the time.
This is great.
And also, congratulations to you too, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we've had, I think, 5 new fathers on the show this year.
It's like a Christmas Carol. Right?
Yeah, it's
You're getting all the dads of all the
Dads of babies past.
babies future.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say there's gonna be like one nerdy super group, like play group for all the for all the kids now. It's just gonna be like
Well, because starting with Vinny's Patrick Norton had a daughter about 6 months ago.
that's right.
Vinny had Max about 6 months ago. Gary and Leah had their delightful daughter,
Flopsy Space Rocket.
Flopsy Space Rocket. Darren, you and Amy were a month ago now, I guess, about maybe
yeah,
2.
a little over a month.
Yeah, it seems, and then we're coming up in January. Norm, you're next. It's either you or Ryan Davis.
Yeah, let's go right. I'll default to right.
Wait a second. Is this gonna be a CES baby?
It's gonna be a CES baby.
Oh,
Guess what
man.
that means? I'm not doing this year. I love CES. I'm a little bummed because I actually do quite like. I when I was doing it for the print magazine, I kind of went through it was a death march. Because there's so many appointments, and it was all about seeing everyone and not kind of seeing the stuff that I wanted to see. And when we do videos, it's really like our goal at the show is to see all the stuff that people are excited about. So CS went from being kind of not so fun to being an amazing week full of like just finding the coolest shit we can find on the floor of CS, which is like if you're looking for kind of fun scavenger hunts, finding the cool shit at CS is not a bad thing to do. It's exhausting, and it is at the end of 5 days when we get in the van to drive back. I mean, we had quite a nice drive on the way back this last year. But
Gary DJ'd.
Everybody kind of drowsed except for me, and we made it back in like 9 hours or something crazy.
Yeah, I remember when I had to do the reporting circuit for that. I would always make a point of going to like the obscure corners first, then kind of work out from there. Because otherwise, everyone's going to be reporting the same basic things when you have your appointments. But I always like the international pavilions or.
Oh yeah, well, in like the back of hall, the upstairs back of the South Hall. There's
like,
crazy stuff back there.
It looked like Mos Eisley going on in the back there.
Yeah.
It was great.
So yeah, I like my CES plans are in flux because the baby is due about a week after CES, and I don't.
Your CES plans are not in flux. Your CES plans are fucked.
Well, no, the thing that
Subtle difference.
The thing that we have talked about is like planning a couple of day trips maybe where I'll fly out in the morning. Because the thing is, the nice thing about being in Vegas is it's about an hour away by plane, and there are flights all day, every day, like every hour, every 50 minutes. So, like, it's not inconceivable that we will just budget an emergency return flight just in case. And I'll just do day trips out and fly in the morning early and fly out at 9 o'clock. or something
You
like
really
that.
hate yourself that much.
Say
huh?
that.
You know,
I do hate myself a lot.
I was going to say, that sounds great right now, like before that actually happens, but there's going to be this point where you're just going to say, oh, screw it. Because you have the lines, getting to the airport, lines.
I'm going to tell you a secret.
Okay.
If I fly out of Vegas at 9 o'clock and arrive at 7 o'clock in the morning, I will still sleep more than I do staying in Vegas.
That's a fair point.
Because I mean, we do that. When we started the site and we were like, "Hey, let's do a 2-hour talk show every night." We just do a podcast. We realized there's plenty of stuff to talk about. That sounded like an awesome idea until at 3 o'clock in the morning you're mastering the video and the audio, and you're like, why?
I would
is wrong
I
with
would
me?
start managing your expectations now. I was in a similar situation to you, like I said, in July. I managed to do Comic-Con 2 weeks after the baby was born.
See, I'm different.
but it was
I'm,
touch and go.
I'm 2 weeks before.
Which
CES is 2 weeks before,
which is, I think,
theoretically
worse.
Yeah, well, the uncertainty is the bad thing because I don't want to miss the birth of my first child. That would be really, really bad.
Really, really don't.
No, I know. I would be in big trouble, and I would. That is not something I would like to miss as a human being. Who is? Do you need a volume adjustment? Are you good? Okay.
Because what did you say? 2 weeks before?
It's the baby's due on it's like they keep sliding the arrival.
Well, what's
date
your
around
current
a little
due
bit.
date?
19th, I believe.
And when is CES?
The 9th. So it's like
So you're
14
well within the
days.
window where
Oh, yeah.
that could kick off early, and you'd be out of position.
So, I mean, well, the thing that she said is that because of her kind of back issues and stuff like that, then like the doctor's paying really close attention, and he seems to think that he can tell you once you're like 48 hours out through some sort of magic powers or something. I don't know how that actually works, but
Yeah, I was going to their credit for me, like they pegged it within like a day and a half.
from what, like 2 weeks out or like 10 days or?
Well, they from 2 weeks out roughly. I mean,
Okay.
like we would have like regular checkups going in, but I mean like they picked our date from the get go, like months out, and then as they got an hour, they said, yeah, you're still on
Seems
target.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were in the window.
I mean, honestly, and CS is the least of the concerns. So
Yeah, exactly.
I would not be unhappy about missing my first CES in like 10 or 12 years or however long it's been. That is a streak that is I'm totally
yeah,
cool
I mean, come
with
on.
breaking.
Oh, it's a slightly bigger television.
Yeah.
What do you fucking do?
I mean, honestly,
And
Compared
you know
to the
what,
birth of your first child?
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Oh no! For the love of God,
Mind you, 8K is pretty sweet.
I mean, I did stand in front of that Sharp TV last year, and if they're better this time, then I mean,
Baby, AKTV.
I mean, maybe I could get it.
Baby.
Maybe I could get
Actually, get a
8K
stream of the baby
camera
There you go.
with Gina and just just live stream the whole thing to the
On the
floor of
AKTV.
CES.
Yeah, just
on the
fa-
AKTV.
just
It's just like
FaceTime
being
the whole
there.
thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what everybody wants. And the floor of CES is
A birthing
on
live.
AK. Yeah.
on like 100-inch.
I think Gina might be in the other room by now, so I'm probably going to be in big trouble.
You know how they try to sell you that stuff, like Apple and other companies do that, like the FaceTime where the dad's off on a business trip and sees the baby on his phone, and like they have that little moment of connection, and it's all magical technology is bringing families together. I tried that shit when I was on a trip with my baby. The baby saw through that shit.
the baby could
was like,
tell.
Fuck you! I can see you're on a phone.
I think.
Why aren't you here?
this connection sucks.
I think that's more for grandparents who just want to be able to see the baby who maybe live in distant places.
What I've discovered though is that the grandparents, like older people, are often very kind of wary of that technology. Like, they're weird sometimes about getting on Skype.
Well, my mom.
Like, they think it's like a demon box or something.
My mom will if I get up on Sunday morning, I'm like I'm gonna call my, because I call my parents on the weekend in the morning, and this is actually probably the time I'd be calling my parents on a normal human weekend day at 9 or 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, and one of the things that, like, my mom is like, you always call me first thing in the morning, and I don't have my makeup on, and I just don't feel like I look very good. I'm like, Mom, if I was at the house right now, I would be walking around with you, and I'd be wearing, I'm laying in bed with my sweatpants on, and the dog is up here slobbering all over the place. It's cool, but it's there's the camera involved, so people of that generation are wary of cameras. They feel like they can eat their soul. I think.
Yeah, it's going to
high-def
capture their
cameras.
soul.
Yeah, you got to watch out for the soul capturing. So what's going on?
FaceTime.
What's going on with you, Darren, these days?
Oh,
Besides
geez.
the fact that you don't sleep and you clean up poop all the time.
Well, actually, I've been kind of thinking about this a lot more. Like, so I feel kind of like a junkie sometimes. I still try to figure out how I can play games and when I can squeeze games in. Totally, I need to fix. Like I need to.
I joke. I'm kidding. Just to be clear.
So I think the games that I'm finding myself playing more are like thank God XCOM came out.
Turn-based strategy is perfect for this, right?
Exactly. I could do that one move and then okay, now it's time to change a diaper. Now it's time to.
So are
feed
you noticing a pattern here in what all the dads are telling you?
Vinny's advice was write down all the things that you love on a piece of paper.
Crumple it up.
No, and then just put a fire underneath it and burn the piece of paper because you're never going to do any of those again.
I think.
And then he just left the room crying. So it was a good talk.
Well, I am looking to train our son early so that his right of manhood is if he beats me in like Street Fighter or something, then he can then he's a man officially.
Okay.
But you'd appreciate that competitive spirit from an early age.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So but otherwise.
And are you going to do things like if he doesn't? Is it going to be like real hardcore like martial arts movie training? Where
totally.
If he doesn't
How else do you earn
succeed,
the family medallion?
if he doesn't succeed, will he not get food those nights or like intermediate goals?
He must learn the 5-inch punch in order to get out of his bed.
And you start this at what, like 3 months, 4 months?
Already started.
Okay, good to go. So basically, you're building Hannah.
Basically.
It's a great movie.
It's a good
Great
plan.
kid. She seemed like a nice kid.
It's a good plan. For the pending zombie apocalypse, I want him to be
Yeah.
ready.
You want to have muscle on your side.
Exactly.
But
Otherwise, I think the real trick is trying to. We're fortunate. We have tech jobs. Our job is to basically play with the stuff that we love doing.
test. We call it testing. Here.
Sorry, testing.
Yes.
Testing. I love testing various things, and I can still say I'm doing my work. So it's like my hobby has become my job a long time
So
ago.
do you tell your wife that? Do you just be like, honey, I was
Maybe
at the
don't
office
care.
today.
Yeah.
I was working real hard, but I had some paperwork to fill out. Did all these reports. It was terrible. They got new cover sheets. It's brutal
The
down
TPS
there.
forms are killing me.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. No, it's one of those things that, like Gina, sometimes we had conversations about this, especially back when we were reviewing games. She's like, I don't think you're playing that game for coverage. I think you've gone beyond coverage and into entertainment at this point. And
To be fair, for Hardware Magazine, you're playing the game for entertainment. The excuse was, it's also...
the excuse was somebody had to review a game.
Somebody
or two.
had to.
Yeah.
The readers like playing games.
Yeah, it's content.
Yeah.
And when I was working for the straight up video game magazines, I remember there was a point when Amy, she asks me, so are you playing this game for work or for fun? And I actually looked at her, I said, I have no idea anymore. It was just like this weird blurring. It's a great problem to have. Seriously, it's like if I'm complaining that I'm playing a game and don't know
The
if it's for
answer
fun.
should always be for fun.
Yeah,
that's exactly it.
if you're reviewing games and you're not having fun at it, then you should be doing something else with your life, probably. Which I kind of feel like that if you can figure out a way to make it happen, you should do that. We talked to Bill Doran earlier tonight, who had a job at Microsoft, nice and stable and all that, and he started making cosplay props.
I was watching that earlier.
Yeah, and when I hear about a guy who has a good job and he quits it to go do something that he thinks is awesome and has fun at, I absolutely love that. You shouldn't do it. He's in a situation he doesn't have kids. He and his wife are both pretty stable, and everybody was cool with it. So yes, you should. There's a smart way to do that. Everybody should try to figure out a way that they can do something that makes them happy, or they should figure out a way to minimize the stuff that makes them unhappy. If they
Absolutely.
Work-life balance.
It was kind of funny.
Real
Shit is
key.
getting fucking deep.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'm real tired, man. I'm getting serious. We're talking about babies.
I feel like you've definitely
And I'm,
started.
I'm
you
feeling
started
bad
to
about the
see beyond
CES
the fucking
thing.
veil into some philosophical.
Somebody tell a
shit.
dick joke or something, please.
Okay, I actually, I'm going to save this. I'm going to make it less serious. Because
Okay.
actually, when I was watching that part of the cosplay and stuff and all that, so it got me thinking of something that happened pretty recently at home. So back when I worked in covering a lot of video game stuff, you get tchotchkes. Like what was like weaponry, right? Like swords and
Ninja
axes
stars and all
Ninja
sorts of
stars.
weird stuff. Yeah.
So I dumped off most of that stuff over the years, but
good
for some
policy.
reason I kept there was an EverQuest 2 sword or a battle axe or whatever. And I got a couple of these things sitting around the house. And I jokingly said, this is like my home I don't have a gun, but this is my home defense. If someone breaks into my house, I'm going to pull out a sword.
Realize these aren't really weapons.
The
right?
GTA baseball.
No. Actually, this sword that I have is actually a real sword. It's
sharp?
I could stab a car and puncture
Okay,
it.
it's pointy, but not.
It's pointy,
edged.
but it's blunt. And you know what?
Okay.
But if someone breaks into your house,
You whack them in the side with the flat part, and it works itself out.
if someone breaks into your house and you come at them with a sword, something is probably
I don't know.
Either he'll run away or he'll shoot you.
Yeah, it goes one of two ways.
exactly. Anyway, so
Life finds a way, Darren.
very true. So basically, this has happened maybe a week or two ago. My and my father-in-law's totally going to kill me. I hope he's not watching this. So,
Me too, actually. I'll just.
no, so basically,
18
I gave the
hours,
I gave the in-laws a key to the house, and I said, if you ever want to come over, because they're actually really cool. And I
Yeah.
said, if you ever want to come over, just text whatever.
That's fantastic that you also have close in-laws.
Yeah,
that is
absolutely.
incredibly helpful in your current
Amazingly
situation.
helpful.
'Cause,
Seriously,
I mean, that's the scary. Like, we're 2,500 miles from the nearest. Yeah.
Because they want nothing more than to see the baby.
yeah, totally. So anyway, he decides to come over one day, and it was one of those really hot days a couple of weeks ago, and I left the screen doors open in the back so you can walk up if you walk out on the deck or whatever, and so. I'm kind of laying in bed, and there's like it's like the nightmare scenario for a new dad. Like, you're hanging out, your wife's asleep, she's finally resting, the baby's asleep, and you're just kind of hanging out reading a book, and like, okay, I'm enjoying these 5 minutes of quiet, and all of a sudden, I hear slowly the screen doors opening on my back deck, and I'm like, what? Because no one knows.
The yawn is not indicative of the story. Just to be clear, I apologize in advance.
So the screen door's slowly opening, and no one knows that screen's there. So it's like you have to know it's there.
Yeah.
So I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, my baby's here. My kid, my wife.
You grab the sword.
I grabbed the sword, and I start creeping toward the sound of the noise, and I look around the corner, and I see it's my father-in-law. And I quickly put the thing away, and I'm like, oh my god, dude.
So it's like you're standing.
Although
you're like,
part of you at that moment, before you knew it was your father-in-law, must have been thinking, okay, if I get out of this alive, it's an awesome story.
It's
yeah. But I mean, the other thing you're
or it could
thinking
go horribly.
is,
Seriously, this could have been like a seriously bad news story. But
Yeah.
But then I think about like how many times, and I think that seriously, how many times do people? I mean, again, I don't. This is not a judgment against anyone who has a gun. I have friends that have guns, and I've gone to ranges and shoot them. That's cool. But I mean, how many times when people would if they have one at home, they would in a similar situation.
frequently gun violence happens to family members,
Right.
by accident.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you'd go to the gun safe and you'd take it out and whatever, and it's just that just kind of like a big wake up call for me.
Yeah. So then the other thing I have to wonder is as you're standing there thinking I'm about to stab someone with this tchotchke sword,
It's so weird.
Can I really? So Norma and I were in a situation a few months ago where we were like hitting each other in the face on camera, and he's gonna have a different answer to this than I do. But like as we were sitting there ready to get going, I was like, I would much rather be hit in the face than hit a friend of mine in the face, because it is like I haven't hit anybody in the face in 30 years probably, since I was in elementary school and I was a dumbass, and like. You don't want to hit someone in the face. Now, Norm, your response, because you were hitting me in the face, I'm sure was completely different.
I'm sorry I missed the show.
Well, it's not on yet. We're gonna run on. It's Monday,
okay.
so we're
Awesome.
teasing.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to see that.
I mean, was it like when you were sitting there? Were you? Because I was thinking like, how hard do I don't want to hit?
What are we
too
talking about
hard.
here? Like open hand?
Like open hand slap. Yeah, nothing. Not like a fist.
And how hard were you going?
Not hard.
For effect.
For effect. Yeah, that's probably right. For effect.
Firing for
It's more
effect is what I would
flashbang
say.
than a grenade.
You wanted to leave a mark, but you didn't want to dislocate a jaw. And I don't have any
Was this
kind
for the
of
slow
sense of-
motion photography?
Maybe that could be what it was for.
And you're saying that
It was
you would rather be smacked in the face
I
than
would
smack
much
someone
like.
in the face.
I'm just saying, when presented with the entirely legitimate situation where it is socially acceptable to smack someone in the face, I found it much harder to do than I initially anticipated.
Oh, I wouldn't.
You want to try? I mean, we can go right now if you want to try.
Well,
I'm the example. I don't want you to smack me in the face, but if you say to me that I can have a free shot, I'm taking
the
it.
scenario was that it was both free shots. There was reciprocal action.
But my
Right.
concern wasn't.
Yeah,
the
it's
hit
only
back.
fair if it's reciprocal, obviously.
My concern wasn't the hit back, because I knew you weren't going to hit me hard enough to hurt me, and
yet
you weren't
you
going to
still
hit my eyeball.
squinched
Although, I mean, at this time
You
in the
can't help
morning,
but squinch. You
And
squinch
could-
too.
it
made
could
a really,
come in
really funny
handy.
face.
But I mean, the point is, we're so socially conditioned at this point not to punch people in the face. By the time we reach this age, I assume people, that aren't in a professional boxing arena or anything like that, it is hard to overcome that kind of social don't
Yes.
hit people in the face feeling.
Because you're a normal person
Well,
and
I
not
mean,
a
that's
psychopath.
probably
Sociopath.
yeah.
you have those
So-
feelings,
Yeah.
as opposed to the opposite.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I was really surprised. I expected Norm would be like, okay, I'm ready to get hit in the face.
So
I'd be like,
were you able to do it, or did
Yeah,
you
of
find
course.
yourself
Of
like
course you do it.
Did you find yourself like pulling it at the
Of course
last
you
second?
pull at the last second.
well,
Of course you don't
the thing
slap
is,
as
I
hard as you can
follow
ever
through.
slap.
You don't go like you're
Oh
trying
no,
to
you
kill
follow
someone.
through, but yeah,
So-
it's not like you're.
my question to Darren, the reason this tangent
Okay.
exists, is to ask Darren, if it had not been his father-in-law, would you have been able to run a stranger through with that sword, do you think? Or would you have just brandished and hope they ran away?
Were you are you a killer?
Well, you know what? I mean, it's like one of those.
You're protecting your wife and child.
Well, I know. I mean, like that's really the question.
In Texas, they'd give you a medal. Maybe not for the sword bit, but I mean,
Well, but I guess what I'm saying is like you never really know until you're actually faced with that situation. Like,
So you were there.
I was
You were
there.
on the cusp.
I was right at the cusp, and I honestly, I still can't.
How were
honestly
you
answer
holding
it.
the sword? Was it point first, or was it like up, like you were getting ready to chop somebody's head off?
Well, to be honest with you, it was kind of because where I had it stashed.
Yeah.
I kind of had to kind of. It was almost like
It was a little low.
It was like low, like almost like ninja. Like if I was like if I had a katana blade, it would be awesome. But I was like,
So you're going to come up under the rib cage.
well, no,
because
basically I was just like I was reaching down, grabbing it, and like slowly creeping along.
I think if the sword defense thing is going to work out, you need to take some kendo classes. or
Exactly.
something.
But I mean, I was focusing more on just kind of intimidation and possibly like
you yell really loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandish and
I mean,
hopefully-
honestly, it's like I said, it's one of those things where you never know. You say you're going to do one thing, and you never really know until the actual second half.
Till the moment the point penetrates flesh, and you're like, ah!
I can honestly say I probably wouldn't.
Okay.
I like to think I wouldn't. Like, you think in a civilized society we wouldn't do that thing.
But then,
when
the
push comes
kid
to
and the
shove-
wife are in the other room, and you're like,
Yeah.
fuck you, you're in my house, and I'm going to stab you. Yeah.
There you go. And on that note, I'm a crazed killer.
No,
apparently.
no, no. I mean,
How did we get here?
Darren told a story about his father-in-law.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so
Yeah. Also, you guys. When you're not stabbing your father-in-law in the chest with a sword.
wow, I'm still going to pay for that. I know.
No. This is.
Yeah, I want to
this
see
is
how you
all
segue to HP's exciting new line of ultrabooks from this.
So, the fine folks at Hewlett Packard have decided to support. I think in large part to your advocacy of our cause here.
It's for the children's.
For the kids. You guys are going to let us auction off one of the upcoming notebooks from this year's line. Now, so there's some caveats.
Now, this is a nice piece of hardware.
This is the NVX2, so it's a hybrid PC.
We haven't seen this yet.
Oh, you haven't?
I
saw it.
Oh, you saw
Is
it?
this,
Okay,
oh,
you
yeah,
said it.
this is brand new?
Yeah, actually, we just announced the release date, the availability date, and pricing. It's going to be coming out, available for order November 14th, and it's going to be selling for like $849.
Okay.
And
So is this another one of the new things where the screen detaches?
that's exactly right.
Oh, and it's an ARM based
Boom.
or x86?
x86.
Oh, nice. So you can actually run real apps.
But
and
it's,
stuff.
You actually run real
it's
apps on this.
Atom.
Yes, well, it's Clover Trail, yes.
Clover Trail, which is much better.
Yes.
Dismiss your preconceptions of.
Yeah, so actually, I
Atom.
I haven't been able to install everything on here. Like, my dream would be able to play, say, XCOM on this.
Or FTL or something like that.
You
Maybe?
can play FTL on
Okay.
this. So,
And this is
actually,
running Windows 8?
Yeah. I actually, oops, I have to enter my password right now. A lot easier on the keyboard.
That does make sense. So explain the CPU and all that stuff's in the screen, and then you have battery and hard drives and other
Oh
stuff.
yeah. So
in the
yeah,
dock.
I'll
We should
give
talk
a
little bit
proper
about this.
demo and get,
Okay.
since you guys haven't really had it. Well,
Well,
Norm
has, but we should tell the people at home too.
Okay, so basically, just about everything you need is right here in behind the screen. It's a tablet, basically, essentially.
Okay. Lower the MacBook. Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Get that out of here.
Yeah. Sorry. I'll just move it into my lap.
Throw it to the
Where it
ground.
can't interfere with this.
We have a
Thanks, Jerry.
Microsoft Surface over there if you want to diss that too.
No. I
Just put the MacBook on top.
nothing
That's where
but
it
love.
belongs.
Actually, let me just enter my password really quick.
Yeah, that's probably. Make sure you do that off camera. It's
Yeah.
probably best. You're good.
There we go.
Nobody's
Okay.
gonna be able to see it from there.
Yeah, so it's attached to my my live account.
Right, because
so.
the way it works when you set up a Windows 8 machine, we talked about this with the Surface stuff
Mm-hmm.
earlier, is it goes out and it says, hey, what's your live ID? And you type your password in. And if you have a previously established Windows 8 machine, as probably several of us, well, at least you and I do.
I gotta say, I really, and it's true of Surface as well, but I feel like, again, the RT version as well, it's a little bit gimped. This is I like this category. This
like the
whole
idea of an
thing,
X86?
It's a laptop,
Windows
it's a
8 Pro.
tablet. It's a
Yeah.
laptop. I think that's
tablet
it's
first.
Pretty
or no,
sweet.
sorry, laptop first, and then if you wanted to take and show people, pictures
Right.
and stuff, use on the couch without the keyboard.
Yep.
Okay, I have to apologize. What I was going to say is this is actually a prototype, so it's not the final unit.
Okay.
So I can't do all the show and tell that one would usually expect.
Well,
Yeah. So anyways, this is not a final unit, so I can't do all the show and tell.
this is the peril of the prototype. I mean,
the joy of demos.
the
Anyways,
thing I always say is during a tech demo, if something doesn't work, then I don't really believe it's a real tech demo.
there you go.
So,
So it is. So anyway, basically it's x86, and Clover Trail works pretty well. So I've downloaded a couple games on here, which I'll try to get online in a second and show
Okay.
you. But it's I was playing Hydro Thunder and Zen Pinball 2,
Okay.
FX Pinball, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it works really well for the most part. I mean, like a couple things I've noticed so far is I have the base station. I tried plugging this into my TV.
Okay.
And, through the HDMI port. I mean, it has a fully functional the keyboard base.
So what's the separation between stuff in the screen and stuff in the base?
Totally. So, like I said, basically, if you just pull it out, it's a fully functioning tablet by itself. In the base is the keyboard, all the ports, and an extra battery. So it's actually charging the tablet while you're docked.
Okay. So how long is the tablet good for on its own? And then when you put the base station on, what kind of stuff do you get out of that?
To be honest with you,
you guys don't know yet.
I haven't had a chance to really fully test it yet, but I used it. Basically, I used it all day yesterday, and I haven't really had a problem with having to recharge it yet.
Okay.
So how is this spec'd compared to, say, like an Ultrabook?
Well, an Ultrabook's Core i5. So I mean that's the Core i3, Core i5, something like that.
And what's in here?
This is Clover Trail. That's the next gen Atom processor.
Okay.
Right. So Intel decided, they did Atom processors for netbooks, and the performance wasn't great on that, but they needed to continue with the Atoms. The idea that they could have an x86 processor that would be powerful enough to run Windows, but also be low power enough to have battery life comparable to ARM chips, because the advantage of ARM chips is that they're relatively low power.
Okay.
So Intel is clearly worried about the threat that low power, high performance ARM chips cause to add to their.
And it's kind of all converging.
Windows on ARM is a worrisome development for Intel, whose primary market is Wintel PCs.
Right.
What's in the
for last 20
Surface
years.
is a NVIDIA Tegra 3. It's the same thing that's in the Nexus 7.
Right, and in a lot of other Android tablets and stuff like that.
Right, and I have to say this actually works. What I have to say is when I've been using this, it's been pretty snappy.
So the benefit here is that instead of with the Surface, my early complaint, my early concern with that product is.
Here, if you want to check it out, I can pass it around too.
I do want
to get your.
No, but this isn't RT, right? This is full.
This
x86
is full
Windows.
x86.
This is x86.
So you can actually go to the desktop and download normal Windows
Right, and actually do real Windows things on it. Okay.
And the thing I do want to point out is that I oftentimes when I'm traveling, I have a tough time deciding whether I want to I'm not hooked up online here. So.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
So anyway, so
would you like me to hook you up, or is that going to violate your?
No, you could do that.
I don't want to get you in trouble with the.
Yeah, if you want to type in the keyboard, you can.
It's easy. We have an easy password.
But anyway, so one thing that I found is that like I said, I have a tough time deciding whether I want to bring a laptop with me somewhere or a tablet somewhere. And I don't need full power all the time. Yes, if I want to play games, I will bring a gaming grade laptop, which there are plenty of them out there.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that I can have this set up at my desk, and then if I need to go to a meeting and just kind of jot down notes, I can do that. And it lasts and I really don't have to worry about plugging it in. That's kind of the important part. And the cool thing is, an extra battery is sitting right below on the keyboard, so I can do that, have it charge while it's coming in. And if you think about it, if you think about it as a laptop, it's a 3-pound laptop.
How much does the tablet weigh? Do you know off the top of your head?
About 1.5 pounds.
Yeah, so it feels about the same as the Surface, maybe a little tiny bit heavier, but it seems to be loading stuff a lot. I have to do side-by-side comparisons to really say for certain, but the UI seems really nice and snappy, and given the state of the ecosystem on the RT side right now, I'm going to pass this over down the.
Yeah, take this.
It's hard to say. It's hard just the fact that you can install normal Windows software is a huge advantage on something like this over an RT device.
Yeah, I'm still tinkering with playing FTL on that. Unfortunately, I can't play XCOM. That would be the dream.
Well, you gotta kind of
pick your battles.
Yeah,
totally.
I think. I can't. I wouldn't try to play FTL on my Ultrabook. Probably. XCOM on my Ultrabook either. Probably.
Well, actually, you can.
You can.
Yeah. One thing I will point out, actually, I was just checking during IDF. I was mind you, it was just a vanilla touchscreen Ultrabook. But I saw some guys from Firaxis showing off the Gods and Kings update, and that's optimized for touch.
Wow.
So there's a lot of games. I used to play Civ 5, just straight up Civ 5. On a touch smart computer, that's our all-in-one touch screens, and those work great too already.
There was a little occasional cursor weirdness, but playing that stuff on a tablet
totally doable.
Worked pretty well.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, they're actually making that game in particular. The guy was telling me they actually added code to make it work specifically with Windows 8 on Ultrabooks on touch screens.
Well, and turn-based stuff is great on. I can't tell you the amount of time I've sunk into Civilization Revolution on. Revolution, yeah, I think. I'm a little spaced out here on iOS.
Understandable.
In the last since it came out. I mean, it is a fantastic game, and touch, it really works well for touch type stuff.
Let's let people know that
So-
because we are auctioning this off, how they can place bids.
Okay, so the way to place bids is to send an email to tips@tested.com with the
Subject line.
HP Envy. Is that a good place?
HP Envy and the bid.
X2.
X2.
And actually,
Just say HP Envy.
we should throw out a couple quick caveats. One, you're not bidding for this one. This
You're
is
not getting the prototype.
You probably don't want this one.
You don't want this one.
I mean, prototypes are cool to have for a while,
exactly.
and then you move on to a production. You want something that's made by the machines, not kind of.
That's right. When the Singularity comes, they have made those.
Yes, exactly.
But so basically, when the machines start shipping to consumers, when they're
Which will be at an indeterminate period of time later this year.
late 2012 is all I've
Okay.
been told right now. So
Okay.
you still have it. You're in that window.
So it's a little ephemeral, but you're essentially kind of getting a pre-order because you'll get something. Like if there's a shortage, you'll be covered in the first wave and all that.
As
kind
far
of
as
stuff.
I know, but that's
Okay.
that's as far as I know.
Okay. So yeah, and you said retail price is
$849. Yes.
with the
It all comes together. Yeah, we
Oh,
don't
okay.
we don't sell it separately. It's all just like you get it, you pull it out of the box. It is the whole.
So it looks like a
experience right
laptop, and then you slide this. Let's hold.
there.
this
Yeah. Oh
up
yeah.
so
Actually,
people can see it.
I should point out. So basically, it's a single magnetic. I mean, there's like these magnets in the struts here, and it magnetically locks into place.
Okay, so there's not like latches or anything like
Oh
that.
no, actually, if you want to
Physical.
pass it back, this thing
I
is
think
totally
Gary's enraptured at this point, so-
but it's totally sturdy. I mean, like you wouldn't even know. It's a seamless connection.
It just snaps into place.
It just snaps right into place, and it feels really good in there. They put a lot of work into making sure that came out right.
I mean,
I know I work for the company, and I'm a total, I'm here.
yeah, we'll talk to Jeff Green about
Yeah, yeah.
selling out and all that stuff in a little bit. So you're
No, but I'm saying like
Darren.
this is like out of the machines coming out for the season. I saw this months ago, and I'm like, this is my new laptop.
Well, I mean, like I said, I have real misgivings about the ARM side of the Windows launch. But I actually, after having used the Surface, which is the first touch device I've really spent any time with, like I understand why Microsoft is pushing touch on Windows 8. It's because it is very clearly designed with touch for kind of first in mind. All the stuff that is weird with mouse and keyboard is works really well with touch when you're swiping in from the edges of the screen and stuff like that.
and closing apps by just kind of like dropping them, like flicking them off.
It
screen.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, this kind of thing, which doesn't really exist today, is the interesting.
And this is where Microsoft partners are doing something where Microsoft
Well, I mean, but this
itself
is
isn't
a
doing.
whole new category, right? Now, the Asus Transformer and the idea of these kind of dockable.
Well,
Yes, but they're
splittable
not
hybrid
like,
laptop
for example, Ace Transformer
tablets.
running Android, Microsoft Surface, ARM version, Intel Ivy Bridge version, no price point in between.
Right.
Well, I should
Cloverfield version.
well, I should point out. I mean, like these sorts of devices, while obviously new for Windows 8, like again, like the TC1000, the HP Compact TC1000, that came out like in, I want to say 2002, 2003. Same kind of premise. You had a keyboard, and basically it was like a transforming laptop. But there was also a dock, so it worked as a home computer as well, like on a desktop.
And we had a whole series of like convertible tablets as well
Totally,
in
yeah.
the early 2000s that had some other problems. But this is if you're looking at things that I'm interested in spending more time with, this is definitely one of them. We have our first bid in, and it's Jacob for $500 on the NVX2.
So what is this thing going to retail for?
$849.
$149.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, there's one other thing that it's like a minor thing, but it's one thing that actually I'm pretty psyched about. So it's got the micro SD card slot in here. So while it's
cool.
64 gigs RAM on board,
Or storage, you mean?
storage rather,
You can
you could expand it on there. Just
and it's
throw
the super-sized ones, not the ones that are limited to 32 gigs, right? So you can go all the way up to 64 gig cards are relatively available now.
pretty much, yeah. And then of course that's saying nothing of the fact that there's an SD card slot in the side on the docking base.
Okay.
So basically, it's. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is like a really thin laptop.
It's
that
a real
also-
computer.
It's a real computer.
Yeah.
Could you do gaming on that?
Define gaming. I mean, for example, I have Hydro Thunder on here, and I have. I mean, here.
Is that the Xbox game from like 2 years ago?
But I'm not going to be playing Skyrim on it, am I?
You are not.
No,
You
I
wouldn't
mean-
be playing Skyrim on an Ultrabook
Actually-
with Intel 4000 graphics either.
Right.
Well,
Not the way you want.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, like, I mean, you can right now, if you wanted to play, like for example, I was playing Guild Wars 2 on an Ultrabook at 12:7.
I was going to say, what about something like relatively low grade, like World of Warcraft?
Yeah, oh yeah, you know what? I think you could. It's on this.
Yeah.
Maybe still not. I mean, like
Okay.
you could. I mean, I would certainly try to give it a shot, but the 3D graphics is.
So you're still given that it's again $849 is pretty cheap for
well,
what
no,
you consider a full-featured PC. You're still kind of in trade-off territory a little bit.
Well, yeah. I mean, but I mean, like what I was saying is like actually I have a couple games installed on here. You're welcome to try them out. You could, I'd love to hear what you think.
The thing that they're, I mean, when you're talking about a machine that uses I can't remember. I'm terrible with telecode names.
Clover Trail.
Clover Trail. I knew it was something Trail. I was like Skull Trail. No, that was that was the Dual Xeon thing from like 3 years ago. When you're talking about something that runs Clover Trail, you're talking about the goal is to get acceptable performance with really good battery life, right?
Yeah,
I mean, so the idea is to have something that you can use if you're a college kid that'll last all
right, and I
day
don't
long,
think
that also has some touch.
this has been marketed to someone as like their one and only computer, right? They probably have another computer they would do like their heavy lifting on.
Well, it depends on if they do heavy lifting
around
or
the
not,
house
right?
and traveling and stuff.
Well, I think it could be a combination. It kind of, like you said, it kind of fits to the usage model. I mean, there's people who have tablets, but they also have a computer at home. So it's just a matter of like, or there's people who have like an ultra portable, and is that their only a computer?
Yeah. I mean, like my dad is perfectly
Can I
happy
see the
using
whole
his iPad
with
as
the
his
keyboard
only
attached?
computer.
I want to see what the whole thing's like.
There you go.
We'll pass it over, so
just leave it
probably
open.
leave it open so it doesn't lock. Yeah. It's and it's metal. It's a metal shell, right?
Yeah, that's pretty well put together. Solid looking piece of hardware. Corning glass on the display.
Yeah.
You know, Kat from Twitter has a moral to your sword story.
Uh-oh.
Always knock.
Thank you. Or text or anything.
And anything really is
Really?
good. Yeah, just
Really.
just announce your presence when there's a sword in the house. So we'll run this auction. Let's say it's 9:45 now. We want to give it 2 or 3 hours. We have one more thing to go after this. So let's run this until 1 p.m. Pacific time, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes from now. And if you want to bid, tips@tested.com. Put in the subject line HP Envy and the price that you want to bid. The current bid is $500, which is a bargain. That's below retail price.
Come on, guys, for the kids.
And if you want us to do something to the final laptop, like sign it or we can
put some horrific images on it.
We potentially we won't put any horrific images on the machine, but I mean maybe I can. It's a metal shell, so we should theoretically be able to, like, if you wanted a design etched in the outside or something like that.
Sweet.
We can probably find someone with access to a laser cutter, and we can do a little bit of light etch work on your brand new laptop. So yeah, I mean, assuming I don't want to.
Voids will be warranted.
Yes.
Warranties will be voided.
But yeah, so again, it's just a reminder, this is not something that we're shipping next week or tomorrow or anything like that. It'll be available when the laptop's actually available, because you want a production model. You want something off the line that goes through all the normal qualification processes. But you'll be among the first to be able to get this new laptop, and we'll tell us what you want, and we'll see if we can make it happen.
I like it. I think I said I like this whole category. I think it's very cool.
Gary's pro.
Yeah, I think the way Microsoft's going to win with this is with laptops first, because people understand product from machines, and then you can detach the screen,
right,
and then do the things that people couldn't expect from
There's
tablets.
a camera on the back too.
I'm sorry. I'm like the worst demo ever.
No. We were talking about swords for a long time there, and then you're obviously a little unsettled as a result of the could you really stab a man, Darren conversation.
Yeah. So there's an 8 megapixel camera on the back, and then there's obviously the front facing one as well
For Skype and video calls and stuff like that. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that I've noticed, actually, even just like here, I was showing somebody this outside, and they thought, like, that's a really cool laptop. And then when I flipped that one switch and just pulled out the screen, like, holy, it's like.
Well, I mean, you were at CES 2 years ago when Lenovo busted out that ARM tablet they never actually released with the pop-off screen. And everyone's like, oh my, wait, what? And it had a kind of, there were some prototypey aspects to that. It's something that people are really interested in, and I think whoever nails that kind of design first and best is going to have something that people are going to be really stoked about. So, what else? What else are you? So you posted a link that I saw that I was absolutely stunned. Not to change the subject, but I want to talk about the Hot Wheels, the life-size Hot Wheels stuff.
Oh, geez, that was from
it was from a while ago.
Yeah, it's a while ago. Yeah.
Did you actually get to go see any of that stuff, or were you reporting on it remotely as we tend to do?
Yeah, unfortunately that one that was the same weekend I had something else going on.
Okay. Like you're having a baby or something.
Well, it's like choosing the wife or the job.
Yeah, should go with the wife.
Exactly.
There will always be other jobs.
Right. So no, it was a really cool.
Confirmed Gina is in another room, so choose your words
Okay.
wisely.
I said wife.
Very good.
Wife first.
But yeah, that was, I wish I was there at that event. But man, that was a really cool jump. So I mean, now I'll have to like look through my feed and like surface that one back up. But
They're doing more stuff like that. I mean, we saw. Didn't they do a corkscrew as well? So this one, the one that we originally talked about, was a loop de loop.
yeah, was it a double loop or is it?
It was two cars in the same way.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah.
It was that. So what they're doing is recreating Hot Wheels toys from when we were kids,
Oh yeah.
and doing it with real cars.
Man, I think that I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like for me, I had like it must have felt like miles and miles of tracks. I remember like my entire basement was lined with Hot
yeah.
Wheels tracks. I would have these weird like I had like velodromes just kind of all over the place.
I'm going to tell you, I think that maybe not Hot Wheels, but I think that like the slot car model train stuff, I think that's due for a big comeback, because now we should be able to make some slot cars that are outright dangerous, right? Stuff that goes 50, 100 miles an hour, and not to scale, none of that scale bullshit.
Yeah.
Actually, in real life, and I think that's a real
I want to see
a growth industry.
I want to see a Death Race 2000 slot car track.
Yeah, why would you not want that? That's a perfect
That would be
idea.
fantastic. Someone needs to make that.
Yeah. So.
I used to love slot cars when I was a kid. In fact, I don't know if they had it here, but it blew my mind when it came out, because traditionally they were called slot cars because there was like a slot in the track,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And there was a little thing that went in, and that's what kept it on.
And
the,
that thing
Right.
got corroded, and you had to sand it down
yeah,
every
and
once in a
they were
while.
always that's fragile. The little what it was the clips that connected the pieces of track together. They always broke.
Yeah.
Right. It was so fragile.
It was. I think
yeah.
that was probably intentional, Gary.
Of course, because you had to go and buy extra. They sold the extra track pieces.
Of course.
But then they came out with this thing when I was a kid called TCR, Total Control Racing.
I remember
and
this.
There was no slot.
So you could just drive like a little RC
you-
car.
you could weave back- you could go- you could go back
with the
and
press of the button, the cars could switch lanes,
What?
and it blew my
Was it magnets?
fucking mind.
It
Yeah,
must
it was
have
some
been
kind
magnets.
of magnets or some
How
shit.
do they
Magic.
work?
I don't know.
Yeah, a neighbor had one of those. I remember we would go over there and just like we would try to like check each other off the road all the time. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
So playing with slot cars as an adult, because I was at a place that had some slot cars a few months ago, and the thing I realized is slot cars are like every other kind of video game racing I've ever played. Slot cars are about using the brakes, or actually not using the brakes, but just not accelerating at the right times. Because the places that you always went weird with slot cars is they fly off the tracks and then you lose.
Well, the key
So-
was to, like, in real life, when you go around a
Yeah.
corner, slow down.
Ride
Otherwise
the
you'll
edge
fly
of
off the
control.
edge.
And
Yeah.
there's some slot cars that are extremely fast. Like some those,
Now or
yeah,
then?
now like
They
have
had
the-
ones that generated smoke as the wheels.
That's
spun.
crazy. Like
Oh, I
laying
mean, it got
rubber on a slot
pretty
car?
hardcore at the end there.
So what is HP doing for slot car technology, Darren? That's the question I have for you now. It's a completely non-serious question.
That feels like
Yeah,
a growth area
that's
to me.
it's on the map for 2013.
Okay.
So stay tuned for the
Good to know.
the Touch Smart slot racing computer.
You're not on the naming team, I'm
No,
guessing.
obviously not.
Okay. You need to put some numbers in there somewhere too.
Yes,
you gotta have some room to grow.
The TC whatever.
made from recycled ink cartridges.
Of course, because
Exactly.
we are a very green company.
Yes. Well, congratulations again, sir, on the birth of your child. We're gonna we have to switch over because it's an even numbered hour, which means we have to do. I don't know if Joey's in there.
He is.
He is.
How's he doing the push-ups? I lost track.
700.
No kidding?
He's closing in.
I think
He's
he's
tracking well
700s.
ahead of where he needs to be.
Damn.
He's a push-up machine.
With
Yeah.
soon to be 8 hours left to go.
Okay.
And
yeah, so we're
we have
going
our next
to.
guest.
Well, we need to do before we do that. Thank you so much, Darren, for coming out.
Totally.
I think the tally right now is $500. So tips@tester.com, HP Envy in the subject line,
With
and
the
then your
bid.
bid. And we will let you know where that goes, and hopefully there'll be a date on that before too long. Joey, we need to switch the recording though because it's 10. So let's do that, and then we'll bring Adam in for our next segment. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, no, good seeing you
Always a
guys.
pleasure to see you, man.
Darren?
Thanks, fellas.
Yeah,
And-
thanks for coming.
and
And
what
thanks
you-
for
what you
the
guys are leaving
hybrid
the-
PC. That is pretty sweet.
That is awesome. Very cool. And you're just gonna leave that here, right?
Oh,
the
totally.
Yeah, that's
totally.
fine, right?
This is like a bar.
Sure, I can trust you guys, right?
And thank your wife for letting us have you on a Saturday morning when you should really be taking care of the baby and giving her a little respite from the.
I will do-
Yeah, I
will
sort
be
of
paying for
appreciate
this
how
rest
it
of
is
the
to
weekend.
get away, especially like in the early days, like where you are now. This is yeoman's work you're doing right here.
yeah, this is.
I'll
this
be.
is
I'm
what
paying
people-
this. I'm paying for this later.
Well, please, when you guys are out and about again, come on down and we'll
Absolutely.
see you around. So, ladies and gentlemen, Darren Gladstone of
Thanks.
many different pieces of content over here. This is Octobercast. We're going to shut down for a quick changeover of the recording stuff. That means stream exclusive content for the next couple of minutes. we're just going to sit here and kind of look at computers and check emails and stuff.
Or maybe
Darren's going to
welcome.
leave, and other people come in, and we'll be right back with another bit. If you're on YouTube, watch the next video. Stream exclusive content.